don't know if you guys know who Nick Please is. I don't.
I do not.
He's hosting a PDH tournament and it almost has 32 people signed up already. Like, an online one.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty neat.
That is pretty neat.
It's like a free to enter one, but it has like TCG player gift cards and stuff as prizes. So.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Derek.
There's a Derek.
Oh, you're muted.
Cannot hear you.
Got nothing.
No can hear.
Oh, how things have changed. I've fallen from grace. I miss the days when it was just me. Before I met you, before I got all these wounds. You say I love you always, but always as a promise that no one can keep. 'Cause you are the one in my dreams. Yes, I can't speak now, so it's
All right. I think I did it. So,
think
hi,
you did
everyone. Thanks for joining us for another lovely Friday Night Magic PDH edition. So, I am the one and only Bobby, a.k.a. bfine. And today I'm joined by two very special guests. Brad, one of the very talented hosts of the PDH pod, and Derek, one of the very talented PDH Rules Committee members. So
My one talent, yeah.
One of the most professional human beings I know.
Yeah, professional human, awesome, like great brewer, has some of the sweetest PDH decks I've seen.
Yep.
I like what I'm hearing. Tell me more about this character.
Tell me more about myself.
But yeah, so thanks you guys for joining me. Thanks everyone for kind of coming to listen to us and then watch some PDH. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm
thanks.
excited.
yeah, and I know so Derek had a really good, or I don't want to give Derek too much credit because I might be wrong.
Please don't.
Was it Derek or Brad who talked about?
It was me.
All right. So Derek had the idea to talk about kind of combat and combat tricks, things that, would you say, change the texture of combat, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes,
so-
stuff outside the realm of like a Doomblade during the declare blocker step.
Right,
You know?
right. Not just interaction, but actual things that affect combat
Yeah.
and damage and everything else. Yep.
Yeah. So we'll do some talking about that. So I guess before, actually, we'll just dive right into it. Derek, I'm gonna let you.
Heck yeah.
I'm gonna let you kick it off.
Yeah.
This was your brainchild, so
Let's do it.
Yeah.
do the thing.
I just very unreasonably love cards like that just they're not removal spells, they're not like kind of the bread and butter interaction that we normally see, but things like a giant growth, right? Like what does that card do? And the short answer, it does a million things, but none of them are like empirical or like explicitly transactional like a removal spell would be.
Right.
And I think there's a lot of depth to these cards, like pump spells specifically, things that alter power and toughness, grant keywords like first strike, stuff like that, because these are cards that like can function as removal spell. Things that increase power can function as like a de facto burn spell for an unblocked creature.
Yep.
They can do a lot of things, and it's all about being savvy enough to set up the situations to where they can do whatever role you want them to take. So I've just been really fascinated with these cards over my entire Magic playing career, let alone like recently in the PDH space. I'm working on a Tome-bound Lich deck right now,
Nice.
which is a blue-black generic 1/3 with Death Touch and Lifelink. When it deals combat damage or enters the battlefield, you loot one card. And I really like the idea of like attacking with it, like getting unblocked, then using a spell like Serpentine Ambush to make it a 5/5, so you just like gain 5 life, loot a card. Because like lifelink is something, and gaining life in general, something that I've been really conscious of ever since we seem to get more and more like pingers every set.
Yep.
So like pump spells on lifelinking commanders in particular that are like a clock, and also life gain, like pump spells on those sorts of creatures are just like seem really powerful to me as like a weird like meta pick.
Sure.
Not just in like competitive commander, but like in casual commander where we see a ton of these pingers pop up all the time, just because they're just so powerful. So that's kind of what got me thinking about that, and just maybe as a topic of conversation with two other bright pauper commander-minded individuals like Bobby and Brad.
You said Bright, so I don't know why you're talking about me, but
Brobry and Batty.
That's right. That's me. Yeah, no, I'm 100% with you. I'm glad you brought up the Serpentine Ambush type effects. We just got a new one in.
Yeah, we got one in Ixalan, and there's one in Markov Manor too.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up those. I've really been leaning heavily into those lately. They're so fun. They're very versatile.
Yeah.
And the one that we just got in Markov actually can function as a semi-removal spell as well, because you can hit your opponent's creature, make it a 1/1. But yeah, I'm a big fan of those. And then I did want to ask you, because I'm with you, I absolutely love combat tricks. Since day one, I started playing like Giant Growth. Let's go.
It's a perfect card. Perfect card.
Absolutely. I did want to ask you though about because we got one in Murders. It's the black card, the Toxin Analysis, I believe. It gives life length, death touch, and you investigate or what have you. Now, there's no strict power boost or toughness boost. Is that something you would also consider a combat trick?
Oh, absolutely. Like there's a card that I really like called Poison the Blade, which is a green card.
Oh,
It's 2 mana,
it's one of
gives I
my
think Death
favorite green
Touch,
cards.
and it
Absolutely.
cantrips.
Yep.
And this card in Markov Manor is very similar in that it's a removal spell, basically kills a blocker, straight dead, and it gets you a card, or in this case, a clue that you can cash in for a card. But
Right.
Super trip.
it's very, very similar, and those cards are awesome for doing exactly that. And like the lifelink just gives it a really nice additional offensive element as well. Because like I said, like buffering your life total is like really important. But it's also, cards like that reminds me of cards like, You Are Already Dead or what's the other one? Mirrored and Avenged. It kills a creature that was dealt combat damage. Those come into play kind of like after combat, but it's like a one mana removal spell to kill like a blocker that chumps your thing.
Right.
So it's they play to me kind of like those cards, which I also think are like vastly underplayed. I think those cards are very, very good too because they can't trip. It's a 1 mana removal spell that can't trips. But yeah, like there's tons of cards that just give your thing Death Touch, like, and there's a long history of cards that do this, and they're all like I think really, really good.
So you're not just looking at combat tricks to take out a player. You're looking at it to change like the scope of the game itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you can really
that.
screw up somebody's like perception of the board by just killing a blocker that they had no idea that you would be able to kill.
Yeah.
Like with a card that they did not expect because these cards are not respected generally.
Right. Right. In multiplayer, people just look past them, like whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing about it is in Pauper Commander, like one for one transactions are kind of like the bread and butter of the format, right? So whereas in traditional Commander, it might be like, a removal spell is not good unless it's killing like one thing from each player.
Right.
In this format, you just kind of like you have to shift focus so much from like player to player to player and interact one for one with each individual player to create tempo against those players and jockey for position that way.
Well, and sometimes, depending on the combat situation, right? Like you may have, like, let's say there's a Dargo. Like a Dargo is never getting 1 for 1 by the opponent. They're blocking, with 3, 4, usually a good chunk of creatures, if not just to absorb damage, then to try to kill it. And like a single pump spell on a Dargo becomes like a board wipe plus trample damage plus the commander damage threat is there.
Right.
Like, you're turning it, its floor in a lot of cases, or a combat trick's floor is like a one for one, but there's so many scenarios where they're X for ones. They may only impact one other player, which you were kind of talking about. There's not the symmetrical effect like a Fleshbag Marauder has. But I mean, they could be very devastating. I mean, double strike spells are huge, or first strike spells. It gives that like
huge. Yep.
People do all the, I don't know how many board stalls I've seen where it's just like, okay, I'm gonna attack and just like all of this is to like trade like 2 creatures and getting 3 damage, and a bunch of stuff is gonna bounce off of each other. The second you add like a first strike spell or like a trumpet blast to that, like that entire landscape of that combat step is very different now, and like the future of that game is very different now.
Or even like the reverse with it, like you take that example of a Dargo and like being like kind of like chump blocked. Like a pump spell could easily elevate like a grizzly bear to trade with a Dargo, and you're trading 3 mana worth of cards for 7 mana worth of cards basically. Like something to keep in mind is not just like how many cards you're exchanging, but how much mana you're exchanging really. Like a Dargo, the reason why that card is so powerful is because you're getting 7 mana worth of card for like for actually like paying 1 real mana. Like you're the mana economy on that thing is absolutely insane. So when you're able to just like cash in 3 mana worth of cards to kill it, like you're gaining positive tempo that way. In a weird sort of roundabout way. It's kind of esoteric. But you can like it's often said that the player who spends the most mana is going to win the game of Commander or Magic, and Dargo certainly is a testament to that. You're spending 7 mana; it's just like discounted here and everywhere, and all. It's spread out across so many different things. But like, I think that not just the card economy, but like the mana economy behind those transactions is like really important to keep in mind too.
Yeah, and that at least in the CPDH sphere, that's what everyone focuses on. Okay, what's the cheapest thing I can do? Like you think of stuff like, this isn't a combat trick per se, like Curfew, right? Like 1 mana to undo that can be like 15 mana's worth of creatures or something.
Right.
Like even
Right.
in casual too. Like that card's played everywhere.
Fade away is the
good.
same way, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the cheaper your like combat tricks are all cheap. Like that's why they're that's part of why they're so strong. And yeah, I think that the mana part is huge because the threats, like the big creature threats in PDH, are usually not 1 mana like
Right.
Dargos. There are exceptions to that rule, obviously. Dragon's Rage Channeler is kind of formidable. Derek is a champion of that.
One of my pets. Yeah.
There's a bunch of other cheap stuff that has cost reduction or whatever, but you're getting that it's like a fake cheap thing.
Yeah.
But like a Giant Growth is always 1 mana. I'm blanking on the
a Giant Growth on an unblocked creature is a lightning bolt to the face, basically. Like,
right,
if you're just trying to punk somebody out, then you do that. Like, and there's also the ones that scale, right? Like Might of the Masses, Aspect of Hydra. Like in Heritage Druid, that's the -- way you just take people out of the game is just forcing through on 1/1 and giving a +10/+10. There was one game I played with Clay, and he was trying to kill 2 people at once and not really attacking me, and then I just alpha striked him for 19 damage with a huge Aspect of Hydra, and all of a sudden he couldn't attack anymore. He couldn't go shields down anymore to kill everybody. So it those sorts of things, just taking people by surprise in those ways. And a big reason why it takes people by surprise is because people do not respect these cards. That's the #1 reason why.
Aspect of Hydra is a bomb. Like, it is so good in the right deck. And
that one's particularly deceptive. Yeah, exactly. That one's particularly deceptive because it plays off devotion. So you're not going to see it in token decks, right?
Right.
But in decks that are creating a lot of non-token bodies, it's obviously it's going to give +5/+6, which is super serviceable. 1 mana for that much damage is huge rate.
Yep.
So just finding ways to utilize these cards, I think, is really worth everybody's time to kind of do, and just consider how you can work them into your strategy. Because honestly, they may take a little more effort to set up, but the ceiling, I think, is so much higher than a lot of other effects.
Yeah, absolutely. There's not a lot you can do for Aspect of Hydra mana that will do 20 damage to somebody.
Yeah.
There's just not,
And when we're dealing in a format where, combat or commander damage is a very real way that games end, a lot of the time. Probably not most, but a lot of the time. When you're only
it's always a threat of ending the game, right? It's always something that's feasible.
So these 1 target spells do so much work with these efficient or cheap commanders too, or fake cheap commanders. One, I guess I want to maybe shift it a little bit. I mentioned a trumpet blast effect too. How do you guys feel about stuff like that, the overload, the Dyna charges, the overloads, the downsizes?
I love them. They're my favorite.
I like Dyna charge quite a bit.
Pack attack, Dyna charge is amazing. Rally the Peasants. Hello, that's one that doesn't get used nearly enough, I don't think.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorites of all time.
Yeah, these are cards that I think a lot of people might see them as kind of win more because they're already doing something very powerful by going wide, and they don't really need the trumpet blast because Zada certainly doesn't need it, right? And that's probably the premier go wide red deck that you might think of, or TPI, but most TPI decks aren't playing to that out.
Right.
I think Dyna Charge is really good just because you can the flexibility, right? So it's a 1 target or board wide spell, and pack attack as well, just giving potentially 3 power rather than 2.
Yeah, and replacing
so much more powerful. Sure. Yeah, and replacing itself. If you can support these cards, I think it's worth a slot. Unless you're doing something that's so explicitly in the opposite direction that you just can't free up a sleeve for it.
Sure. Right.
I think a lot of decks would benefit just by having 1 that you can just draw into and just I guess I can just kill people now instead of drawing another kind of dirtily combo piece or something.
Right.
Yeah.
That doesn't do anything without 3 other cards.
And I think I like what you said earlier about how people don't respect them. I feel like and that's I think part of why you're so interested in them too. Like people aren't expecting them; they're not respecting them either, and that makes them that much more powerful too. Because no one's like thinking about it with oh, I just block. Like this is what combat is. I don't have to think too much about
attack,
it. Right?
And I block, and that's it. Right?
Yeah, like people aren't thinking. They may think, oh, my stuff might get killed, or I might get like a bounce spell. But they're not expecting to get giant growth and lose 3 creatures as a result, right? Like that's usually not what they're anticipating, and I think that the unexpected factor, I think, pulls a lot of weight.
And they work with so many different strategies too. Like I'm a big fan of combat trick, +2 or whatever, +4 sometimes if you can Iron Hoof Boar or something crazy like that, get it on your creature and trample through combat, hit the player for a little bit, take out maybe a couple of their creatures, and then Essence Harvest or then Fling. Like you're already adding this synergy of all this extra power. You might as well use it while you got it, kind of thing.
Yeah, and what you bring up about like the trample ones, the ones that give trample are really good in terms of like playing for initiative or monarch. It's another way to just like easily grab that stuff.
Yeah, that's the other there's so many, like combat has so much more. I'm a combo player, so like I am not normally engaged in fighting over the initiative in monarch, but those are very real stakes, and like getting those like talking about the board stall situation, if someone gets one of those and the board is just so clogged up that they are like sitting and just like living on those, the amount of card advantage they gain gets out of hand, and quick once someone hits the throne and the initiative the first time, like things are gonna start snowballing from there. So any like extra way to like get through and like maybe mess up combat in a way that's favorable to you is good. I like evasion spells. I know these are maybe a little more different, but like stuff like maximize altitude. I think that's the jump start. Give a creature flying.
It gives it 1/1 flying.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff. There are a handful of decks where I find myself wanting to play those as I'm like brewing kind of more casual, and usually they're Voltron-y type builds as opposed to maybe go wide or mid.
These cards really thrive in like more of a tempo sort of aggressive deck, like a more tempo oriented aggressive deck, rather than something that's like Voltron oriented, because Voltron just plays so much more to the table, rather than just like attacking with like some small creatures, inflict a little bit of damage, get like an on hit trigger or something like that, just like generate a lot of incidental value across your board of like seemingly less interesting or valuable creatures. And then using like pump spells, like 1 mana effects to like just like time walk, like they spend their whole turn tapping out for like what's the card, battle rager or something like that, and you just attack, they block, and then you kill it with a giant growth or something. You kill their 4-drop with your 1-drop, and it sets them back a whole turn because now you have to play something else, and you're still doing stuff. Like that's, I think, where these cards are like the most powerful. But the ones that you're talking about, I think, are really great too. Like the evasion stuff, like slip through space or distortion strike.
Love it.
Maximize altitude. Like these cards are way better
all that stuff.
at forcing through like one huge thing, which is like there's tons of value to that. Like I can't tell you how many games I've lost where somebody just plays like a wedding invitation. It's like, well, I guess I'm dead now.
God, I love that card so much.
It's like that. It's like the way to get through that last little bit of damage you need to get through. Like I played a game yesterday where like I spent my turn playing like a Simic Ragworm, and my goal was to not die to combat. So I had like 2 different colored creatures, so I didn't just die to a protection spell or something. And like having something that goes at a different angle, and all of a sudden they're like, okay, I lose. I couldn't do anything against that either. Like and like maybe protection spells kind of fall into this kind of category too, like the kind of forcing it through. Those are powerful for plenty of other reasons too.
Those I think protection spells are a lot more valuable if you're creating a situation in combat where you're trying to bait a trade. Like you have your 2/2, you want them to block with their 2/2. They think to themselves, we're just going to trade, so why not? And then you give a protection. So they're trading their creature for your protection spell rather than a creature for creature. So it's protection spells are like way better in those scenarios, I think. But again, like it depends on what colors you're playing too, like to a really large degree, like what you have access to. Like white actually has a lot of pump spells, like +2 power, like in that range. So does green. Blue has spells that change power and toughness. Black has a lot of like the keyword stuff, like lifelink, death touch stuff.
Yeah.
And then red just has all these like brute strength effects,
aggression,
like just like straight
First
up like
strike. They have
yeah.
first strike.
Yep.
yeah, a lot of first strike, a lot of just I mean now like pump spells like infuriate, brute strength, Rubble Belt Maka I love because it's a channel ability, so you can't like counter it.
Right.
Yeah, like all that stuff's great.
Yeah, and I think the cool thing, and we'll see more and more of this over time, and we're seeing it already. Like, these spells, they already have like kind of they're not modal spells most of the time. Like they're doing a thing, and it just you can use a giant growth defensively, you can use it offensively. But like we're getting combat tricks that also have something else stapled onto them too. Like all these modal spells. Like I can't think of one off the top. What break ties, right? Like that.
Oh yeah,
a disenchant.
Yeah, that's a great
it's
one.
An exile something, or then it's a put a +1/+1 counter.
+1/+1 counter. Yeah.
It's
one card I really like,
or something.
Yeah, one card that's really great in this exact vein is a card called Applied Biomancy.
Yeah.
From one of the recent Ravnica sets, it's a Simic blue-green instant. You do two things: you bounce a creature, and you give a creature +1/+1 until end of turn.
Yep.
Like Skullduggery is another one from Ixalan. It gives a creature +1/+1, gives another creature -1/-1. Like these sorts of things. Just, I mean, you can trade that card for 2 creatures in combat, basically, like with the right combat step. So like, yeah, I mean, these cards are like have very broad applications, and I think they suffer from not having all those applications spelled out explicitly in the text of the card. You kind of have to like imagine how to get the most out of it, and then play to those situations rather than just like the card telling you explicitly what to do.
Yeah, one that you turned me on to, God, it's been a while now, but it was after a Saturday stream we got to talking about it, and it's Blinding Beam. Stuff like that is
Blinding Beam is dope.
That card's awesome.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, cards like that, like there's a couple in blue, like Misstep, for example, is a card that just makes a player like skip untapping all their creatures on their next turn. Like these sorts of things, like I don't know, Blinding Beam is a great card. Tapping creatures down, I think, is another thing that's a really great way to exploit tempo in a like a combat oriented deck. I mean, like let's say you have what's like the most basic tap spell. You have something like Feeling of Dread. Is that the one? It's a white. It's a white spell. One. Yeah, tap 2 creatures, flashback for a blue and a colorless.
Yeah,
it just taps 2 things, but like that can be 2 creatures can't attack this turn. It could be 2 creatures can't block this turn.
Right, one of each.
Yeah. So it's very versatile, like tap effects, things that impact the board that way. That's why one card that I am very it's a pet card of mine is Ardenvale, whatever, the 2/3 flyer that has the adventure to tap 2 creatures.
Tactician.
Ardenvale Tactician. That's the one. It's a great card. Adventure cards are already awesome, and ones like this or Queen of Ice is another one that I like
Queen
a lot
of Ice
too.
Is a good one. Yeah.
It's the adventure half is a freeze effect, and it's a creature that if it deals combat damage to a creature, it freezes the creature, which is like very powerful. Yeah. Freezing things is something that I think people are not prepared to happen to their creatures most of the time.
They are definitely not. Yeah.
Like I probably frost trickstered more creatures than like anybody else playing the format, and it never gets old. It's always good.
Well, yeah, you talk about like tapping down and stuff too. Look at Great Sword of Tyr. I mean, that buffs your creature and taps down a blocker for the turn.
Yeah, exactly.
That's going to do some damage.
And the great thing about creatures that enter to tap is that they're really great ways to build flicker decks that create forward momentum rather than just like sitting back and dirtling on your hunches. Like I know there's a problem that you've run into, Brad, a lot with like your OG deck is you just kind of just start flickering cards that draw cards. So you just have tons of cards, but you just have your board is like a 1/1, a 2/2.
Yes.
You can't really like do anything with them.
A lot of wheel spinning. Yep.
Yeah, like flickering cards like Water Trap Weaver, flickering cards like Frost Trickster, flickering cards like Mana War or Mist Raven, I think is a better one. These are cards that will like force your opponents to just like in these really bad combat situations where you can attack with like these evasive creatures. And just like flicker them when you need to keep things locked down. Again, like offensively or defensively. Flicker spells are like make for really great combat tricks when half the format's best creatures have really powerful ETB abilities.
Yeah.
And I like those where you're dealing with a creature in a way that impacts it on other people's turns too. Like once it's tapped, like that's opening the floodgates for more combat damage
for
to
everybody.
Push their direction.
Right,
Bobby, you know firsthand, having been Giga Drowsed.
Oh yeah. I don't.
To oblivion.
That's kind of fuzzy. I don't remember that too much.
I did the same thing to
trauma.
Liam when I was playing with Brad and Dave and Liam a few weeks ago. I did the same thing, just like Giga Drowse, copy it 5 times, and just like tap somebody's board on their end step.
Yep.
And then they're just they're just the most attractive target for combat for an entire turn cycle.
Yeah.
That's it. That same game you're talking about there, where it feeds right into the combat tricks conversation, because I was playing my my Mouth of Sauron deck, and every turn I was trying to get that gigantic orc army through to somebody, whether it was Artful Dodge or Slip Through Space or Trader's Clutch or Wedding Invitation. Like, it was coming in somebody every turn.
Yeah. I also, similar to like the tap creatures, and we don't have as many of this type of effect like we do like those, but I'm really big on detain, even though I think we only have, what?
Azorius Arrestor is really undervalued.
I believe so too.
Yeah. I am trying now Asperius Skyguard in a few decks just because I love that format. So I'm like, I just nostalgia, but like the ability to like detain something, like they can't attack with it, they can't block with it, and like they get it back on their turn, and maybe people forget it, is detained, maybe they don't, who knows, but like it's dealing with it, but it's also like half dealing with it, right? Like it's not going away. You're encouraging people to get in now while the getting's good,
right?
Maybe it ends the game sometimes. Like I don't want it can be pretty busted, but
or it just stalls things out. So like you might just detain a thing so that it doesn't, because it's going to come at you because you're doing something threatening, and it just kind of stalls out, so you have more time to get in damage. Lie of Sky Knight is like one of my favorite cards. It's very, very good, like super aggressively slanted, like another really great flicker target for like if you want to close out a game with a flicker deck. It's a 3-power flyer for 3 mana that detains things when it enters. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
And that one's cool because it hits permanents too, not just
it does.
But I've been tinkering with a 5 World Heart Phoenix. I played it on Chris's stream a few weeks back, and I've been tinkering with that, and that deck I'm like it's all based around Gates and World Heart Phoenix, and World Heart Phoenix connecting. Basilisk Gate is sorcery speed, combat trick, sort of. So like I'm signaling, hey, I'm not hiding this. This is what I'm doing.
Right. But I'm same thing with you meet in a tavern. It's still a great card, but they know it's coming.
Yeah. And even those are like I don't hate sorcery speed stuff like that. It just has to be that much more impactful. Right. Because it's so it just gives that extra little bit of time for people to do something about it. It's not it's no longer a surprise the same way, I already blocked, now I'm getting blown out.
Right.
But in like that World Heart deck, I'm playing some like these detain things, or like what's the card? Spara's this card
Spara's Adjudicators.
That card can only be played in so many decks because of its color identity, but that kind of stuff, just like I'm saying, I do not like that creature. That creature is out for this turn. We'll deal with it next time. Phasing works too, like Sapphire Charm and was it Vanishing is a little more obnoxious than something like Sapphire Charm.
Right.
But, phasing is kind of like very similar to Detain in that way, and I don't necessarily see a lot of those, and I think maybe maybe there should be more. And part of it is there's not a lot of either detain or phasing, I don't think.
I mean, a lot of these things, like, I know it's much easier to talk about them in like a broader casual environment, but even in competitive games, like a lot of this stuff with like detaining permanents, it's very powerful for a lot of decks, because I mean, like, Gretchen not only needs to be able to activate its commander, but it needs to block with it too.
Dargo needs to attack.
Dargo has to attack. Like, Abdel is the chunkiest thing on the board, and that's what stonewalls a lot of other decks, is the fact that it's a 4/4 that just gets in the way, and it's fine if it dies because you get more tokens. And like in those decks, like against those decks, like making your things unblockable is like a lot more valuable because they have such a large board.
Yep.
So like applying pressure through the battlefield, there's a lot of different ways to do it. And if you're planning for like an expected metagame, I think it's pretty easy to plan around like what you're going to need to be doing based on what your commander wants you to do. There's such a huge variety of things out there that just really, really hurt a lot of popular decks, and just nobody's doing them because I think that the archetypes that want to play those decks are not only underexplored, but maybe a little underrespected.
Yeah, I agree. And a lot of it too, the combat tricks, it's the threat of activation as well.
Yeah.
Like once a player sees you drop a giant growth, for example, they're going to think twice about every future combat step for the rest of that game. Because more than likely, you're not playing just a giant growth or just a Bestial Fury or what have you. Like
you're playing those cards because that's what your deck wants to do, not
that's
just
what
because
your deck
like
wants to do, right? They're going to be afraid that you're ready for every single attack and block that can be had. So
like that's one thing about Dragon's Rage Channeler that is really compelling to me about the deck is that it's like one of the few decks that I consider like a real tempo deck in the format. It's like I talk about it like as mono red Delver a lot of the time.
Yeah,
because it plays very similarly. It's just a lot of interaction.
Well,
a lot of very
against it feels very much like that.
Yeah, it's a lot of very, very cheap interaction and a very, very cheap threat. And you have both of those things going on simultaneously.
Yep.
There are pump spells in that deck because killing people with commander damage is a very easy thing to do. I play like Rebel Belt Maka, the one that gives +3/+1 and exiles a card off the top of your library. Iron Hoof Boar, it gives 3/1 trample. It's another channel spell. To fuel delirium, that's why I have those cards in there. But
sure,
like they're all very, very good cards at pushing a lot of damage when people don't expect to, because Channeler is a 3/3 flyer, and so it's very common for competitive-minded players to calculate exactly how much of their life total they can afford to lose and play to that, rather than like being open to, oh no, I'm taking 4 damage when I thought I'd be taking 3, and now I have to play in defensive mode for the rest of the game.
Right.
That's what those cards are there for, to really just throw off people's perceptions of what's going on the battlefield and just kind of completely upend their calculus on a game, and it works.
It does. That's what I was saying about the threat of activation. Like, you smack them for 3 or 4 with the channeler, they're going to be like, well, how much is coming at me next time? How much is coming at me?
And as far as like onboard stuff like that, like I've started playing a lot of fire breathing effects in that deck, because in the event that like channeler gets removed, like Fiery Mantle goes back to your hand, Crown of Flame you can return to your hand. You can reuse these things, keep triggering channeler, and also having the threat of activation to just completely kill somebody with it.
Yep.
So it's just this like reusable engine of damage that people have to respect. And on the back end, you have instant speed ways to further increase Channeler's power to, again, just like completely obliterate people's understanding of what's going on. And it's so much fun to play for exactly that reason. Like, people don't know how to estimate what you're doing, and a lot of times they don't want to use a removal spell on your commander because it's so easy to recast and like give haste. It doesn't create as much tempo as they'd want it to, so it's not oftentimes worth doing.
The cheaper the mana value of the commander, the less likely you are to target it with something.
Yeah, unless people feel like they have to, which Channeler does a lot of.
Channeler
does sometimes.
It certainly does.
But that's like just one of the clearer examples to me of like a deck that I consider to be like pretty competitive that employs a lot of these kind of principles.
Yeah, and when you brought up a few minutes ago, you talked about like detaining like a Gretchen, for example. That reminded me of puzzle box, and I talk a lot about Gretchen, obviously. And the new set, when like the suspect mechanic came out,
oh yeah, it's a big game.
I'm that as that's a huge impact on combat, both ways, because what it gives menace and the creature can't block. So you can use it aggressively. It's another one of those cool ones. It goes both ways. You can use it aggressively or defensively. If a Gretchen ever gets suspected, I am very, very, very sad, because Gretchen needs a block, and it's gonna be hard to reset that if I'm not blocking with it. And I, with that kind of mechanic, there's not gonna be a lot of things that people are playing that the thing is no longer suspected. Like, odds are good you're gonna play like 1 or 2 of those, and once it's suspected, it's suspected. So menace is huge. I mean, we've seen it with gut. Like, the fact that the 4/1 skeleton, like if they were just 4/1 skeletons without menace, gut would not be nearly the terror that it
for
is.
sure.
Menace, like, is just so, it's a game changer, especially with the high power on those skeletons, and so suspecting any reasonable size threat of yours or someone else's, if you're trying to force it through someone else, is bored. Like, menace is a huge game changer. You have to do that pre, blocks and whatnot. But I think those are really neat.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as far as like suspecting goes, like that's a clause that's just like a kind of tacked on to other cards. It just kind of like happens along with getting like full freight for another effect. So it's something where like you can easily leverage the menace into like a double removal spell, basically by killing 2 creatures in combat as like half of a card that you play.
Right.
And it's really important, I think, to think about it in that way, because like when you're thinking about what your cards are doing, Commander is so, especially Pauper Commander, it's so transactional. It's like on a very base level, like it's very card for card for card for card for card, and you really have to figure out like how much value you're getting when you play these cards. And with anything that suspects, it's astronomical. Like, that's why gut, like you said, gut is insane, because like when you have a menace creature with that high power, it doesn't matter how low toughness it has at all. Like, it just doesn't matter, because no one can chump block it. You have to double block it, and even if it has 1 toughness, you're killing 2 things, so who cares? It's a token anyway. Like, it's just
your
it's
token
just free.
killed 2
fraction
other
of a
creatures.
card.
Yeah. So like that's why like gut is so good, because it generates so much value in that way, creating negative value for your opponents for free.
Yeah, if not card advantage, like it's sacking things that draw it cards or give it more tokens, or
right,
it's stuff it wants to ditch. So
exactly.
I know I'm going to get, Gretchen is going to be a suspect one day, and I will be very unhappy, and I just hope it is much further away than I think it's going to be. So
well, I apologize in advance.
it's coming.
Are there any other like when you think about combat tricks or ways to interact with combat? I mean, we've covered a really wide.
I'm pretty big on. I know we've talked about like mainly, excuse me, like in the red zone sort of combat trick instance and that sort of thing, blood rush, what have you. I'm a big fan of. I mean, I love combat tricks, but I'm a big fan of even if it's telegraphed, of affecting combat on a different level as well, with enchantments too, like Goblin War Drums, Zephyr. There's a Zephyr Wind or Zephyr Flight or something. You pay 2 mana and give a creature flying. Like stuff like that. Like, everybody knows it's there, but they know that it's going to be a problem eventually for somebody. I'm a big fan of stuff like that. Raid Bombardment, anything that like adds another layer to the combat step with just by being present on the board.
I think War Drums is a really cogent like point here, because like we've talked about menace, and when you have something on the battlefield just statically gives all of your things menace, like not only do you like have to be like, okay, I have to double block everything now, but like you can no longer attack with anything because you need all your things to block.
Right. Exactly.
So it just gums up everybody else's boards and really stalls them out. I think it for something that's so like explicitly offensive. Like, I don't mean offensive as in like I'm offended, but offensive as in like it's an offensive card.
Aggressive.
Right. It sure does like control the board.
And sometimes it works like an anthem. Like, you land it on the board and you're killing somebody right now. Like, someone's gonna die. Like, that's basically what's gonna happen.
Like I said before, like people calculate for like the smallest margins when they're doing stuff. So like if you give all your things menace, it's just like, well, I had enough blockers to save me 10 seconds ago, but now I'm dead. Right. And like you mentioned earlier, Bobby, you pair War Drums with some double strikers or some life linkers, and like you're so far ahead of your opponents.
When you start stacking all these effects, like multiple combat tricks, or like it, you're adding more to the X for X trade, but usually once you're adding more than one, like the rate of return you're getting is just insane in most cases if you're going down that path. So
agreed.
But so I am one of the people who probably doesn't respect them enough. I'll say it. I played Dargo Kelith for a little bit, and it is one of the few decks I played that like it's trying to obviously double strike Dargo left and right.
Right.
It was playing protection spells to try to like force through Dargo or force through Kelith. Like double strike. I mean, double strike's like it's like its own monster when we're talking about like in the context of commander damage, which is usually when I'm thinking like double strike's effective. Or not effective, but it's usually when I'm doing it because I'm just like, yep, I just want you to be dead. But yeah, like it. The more of these you just put together, like it's just gross. So
yeah, and something interesting about Dargo and protection spells is that like I can certainly very easily conceive of game states where it would be correct to like use your protection spell to force through Dargo, or also use your protection spell like in combat to
protect and
like
trade
to bait people into like putting creatures in front of it.
Yeah.
Just like as a like pretty clear example of like how protection spells can be like that versatile in combat and like set up really great kind of combat blowouts. As opposed to just like using it to force through an unblocked creature or something like that, which is certainly like one application. But Brad, something you said about Blood Rush, it reminds me like, speaking of things that like nobody understood or respected, I played in the Gate Crash pre-release many years ago, and I split. It was a huge pre-release. I split in the top four. All four of us were the Gruul decks. Nobody else picked the Gruul decks because we just Blood Rushed. We got the Rubble Hulk. That was like the pre-release promo. So. Right. It gives a creature power and toughness equal to the number of lands you have when you Blood Rush it.
Oh,
there's the boar. Ogre. Yeah, I had a Wrecking Ogre. I had 2 boars. The one that you Blood Rush for 3 mana gives a creature +5/+4.
Yeah.
Just killing people all night. Because nobody respects this stuff. Nobody like understands how powerful it can be to just like give your creature 5 goddamn power,
Yeah, give my creature 20% of your life total.
That's uncounterable too. Like that's the really cool part about them. And
I love Blood Rush.
Like Blood Rush is cool because you are usually a creature based deck. You're an aggressive deck, so you want to play creatures. They can be creatures if you need them to be. They can be recurred by It's you're more likely to play a creature recursion spell in a deck that is attacking than like an Archaeomancer type effect. Right. So I like how like they're just like really well like designed for that style.
Like
of deck.
Being able to raise dead a pump spell is like big game.
Yeah, I was gonna say I used to tool around with a 60 card Pauper Jund Tordax list that ran all the Blood Rushers.
Hell yeah,
I love that. Do it again, get it back, do it again. Like it didn't win a lot, but it took people like completely by surprise all the time.
Yeah, I know.
It was amazing.
I think Quartz is the one I've seen play a lot of Kedis Ghost. Ramirez.
Ramirez is like a really good way to do this.
Yeah, like in returning Scorchwalker over and over again. Like,
that's awesome.
It's really
that is awesome.
So. But yeah, no, Blood Rush is sweet, and
shout out to my boy Rubble Belt Maka, the best to ever do it.
I was always a Boros person in the Gate Crash, but I was very heavy Rakdos in Return to Ravnica block limited.
Sure.
Yeah.
My favorite limited block of all time was that set. I've spent so many hours drafting those piles. So
for sure.
Big fan of Blood Rush and Overload and all of those. Like I don't know, that block had a few of the mechanics we've talked about here, so that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
Any other like I don't have any more like cards I can think of or mechanics I can think of that kind of fall in line with this. I mean, we could maybe talk about equipment, but that's kind of different.
It's a little different.
Yeah.
Well, there's ones like cranial plating or like even like Horned Helm that you can move at instant speed.
Yeah.
The battle horns is good.
Yeah, that stuff creates a lot of really interesting like tension in combat. One thing that we didn't mention is like black is very good and has a lot of not just the cards that like when your thing dies it comes back to the battlefield or whatever, but also just spells that give your things indestructible.
Yeah.
Which fall in the same category as like these things like using a protection spell in combat to force trades. Like it does that thing. And a lot of the the Grave Flickery cards, like they give your creature power. Like Supernatural Stamina gives you +2 power. And like these are clearly cards that are designed. Yeah, these are clearly cards designed to like have your creature trade up in combat and just like have it come back.
Right.
So like there's a lot of value in those cards in combat, not just to like get an extra Gary trigger, but also just to like do really, really great things in combat.
Yeah, like it never happened. Like I killed your creature for 1 mana, and look, mine's still
No.
here, and I got
Yeah,
an
no,
ETB off of it.
Yeah,
and...
there's some that give the creature lifelink. There's some that give
Yeah.
the creature a 1/1 counter when it returns. Like a lot of really interesting things. So like a lot those cards are used primarily, you know, just to abuse triggers, but using them like in combat, I think, is a really great way to like take full advantage of these cards.
Yeah, and I know one that I'm a huge fan of, and I try to play it in most red decks. And I know Liam mentioned it on the show recently that he doesn't think enough people play it, and that's Tavern Brawler. I mean, that card
Yeah.
is unbelievably good in combat. It gets you an extra card every turn. Like, it's ridiculous how good that card is sometimes.
It turns things into threats, you know.
Yeah. Anything. Yeah. I mean, whether it's 1 power or you're adding 8 power to, like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's just good.
Yeah. No, you guys got my the gears working in my brain. I'm like, what combat stuff can I be doing? Because I'm not normally someone who engages in turning creatures sideways during the combat.
You just build a beam splitter mage deck.
That card is okay. Now
you're
we're
talking. See his eyes light up. I saw it. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If you give me a Simic one too, that's when we're really.
Oh god, yeah.
Right.
Tell me about it. I've been big into Simic decks lately, but like like Beam Splitter Mage. Like imagine casting Serpentine Ambush on a Beam Splitter Mage.
Oh, I love it. I love it already.
That is pretty sick.
Like one card that I love this card. It's called, I don't remember what it's called. It's a 3-mana instant. It makes 2 things, 3/3 illusions with flying until end of turn.
Okay.
Oh.
And it cantrips. I played it in the Mischievous Catgeist deck. You just make your 1 power things 3/3s, and you attack for 6, and then you just draw a card and
How do I not
trigger
know
whatever
what
on
card
hit.
this is?
Illusory something. I don't know. It's a really cool card. But yeah, those sorts of things that alter base power toughness are, I think, especially the blue ones. No one plays around the blue cards.
No,
Yeah,
no
well,
one ever expects that.
And there's a bunch of like, what is it? Like Tidal Wave is one. I think. I'm a big fan of. I mean, this is less like not an aggressive one. It's more of a mess with other people's stuff one. Snake Form is one of my all-time favorite cards. Ovenize.
I like that card a lot.
Yeah.
The ones that cantrip, I love.
Yeah.
I love them.
Who doesn't love drawing?
Now, how do you feel about fight spells? Like
I like them a
specifically fight
lot.
Spells, not ran through because that one's off the charts, but just
Yeah.
generic fight spells, bite spells, that sort of thing.
The bites are always great.
Yeah, bites are great.
That's one of the reasons why, like, in the back of my mind, I'm always like this close to building or rebuilding Finn the Fangbearer, because your bite spells are just Doomblades. Because all your deck is.
Form was the card you.
That's the one, Phantasmal Form.
Yep.
With Finn the Fangbearer, all your bite spells are Doomblades, and that's really cool, and I like that a lot. And he also fights really well because he has high toughness.
Right.
So like those fight spells and bite spells makes me want to build Finn the Fangbearer again. I had it together for a while and it was a lot of fun, but I mean, in green, obviously I build a lot of mono green decks, and those are the best things that you have access to. Luckily, you just incidentally have large enough creatures to utilize them and to kill whatever you want to kill. Bite spells are good. Mizu, thank you very much. Like Prize Fight gives you a treasure. Fights gives you a treasure.
Prize Fight's so
Ancient
good.
Ancient Animus, if your commander's legendary, like Finn the Fangbearer, gives you a +1/+1 counter before it fights.
Yep.
Same thing with Duel for Dominance. I think
Duel
if
for
you
Dominance
have
is a great
Coven,
one.
you get a counter and then you fight.
Yep. Yeah, Herdbait Loft plays that because of the
Yep.
counter. It's so good.
Even something like Mage Duel, which is a sorcery, it's a 3-mana sorcery. It costs 2 less if you cast another instant or sorcery during your turn, I think. So that would reduce it to 1 mana. It gives a creature +1/+2, and then you fight. There's also some other spells like Sorcery Speed that do that.
Yeah, Mizu, and that's great
Yeah.
too. You know, the fight spells synergize with Heroic super well.
And especially with Heroic, there are fight spells that target 2 creatures to fight 1 creature. So you can get double triggers if you have 2 Heroic creatures, which is a synergy that I think is really, really cool.
Yeah, it's super
like
cool.
band together. If you band together on 2 Heroic creatures, you just get so much value. It's wild.
Yeah.
Now I'm just remembering my mono white heroic days of 60 card and all the. I remember playing Pollen
Yeah.
Remedy to try to just get
Sure.
trigger on
Sure.
like a bunch of creatures. So
Yeah.
Yeah. The one thing that I will say about fight spells specifically is that if the worry is that you're going to trade your creature, keep in mind that like a lot of the creatures that matter in competitive play are actually much smaller than you'd think.
Yes, they really are.
So as long as you have a creature that has like 3 toughness, you can fight
generally
and
okay.
kill most things and leave your guy alive. They just do a lot of work. I think the fear of like trading your creature and your fight spell for their creature, I think keeps a lot of people off of them. But it's very easy to engineer scenarios where it works exactly as you want it to.
Right.
Yeah.
And it, with the risk of running a little too long, I don't know how long you want to keep us here, Bobby.
you're good.
One more question: how do you feel, Derek or Bobby too? How do you feel about the like the steadfast unicorn type abilities, where it's like an
One's that?
anthem on a body? You know, it's a unicorn.
It like enters and gets everything +1/+1.
Well, no, it
Oh, that's one
enters.
with the activate ability. where
Yeah,
you,
the
like,
activated
pump
ability.
things.
of
Oh, I know what you're
3 and
talking
a
about.
white.
Yeah.
But you can do it as
I
many
think-
times as you want to. Like
I think
built-in
that one's
anthems
quite
like that.
good. I think that one's great.
We have the
I think
Eagles of the North that gives us like the ETB +1/+0
Yeah.
to your team or whatever. But
yeah. There's also the one in Lord of the Rings where if you have it's like 5 mana to pump your board by 1/1, and then if you have a legendary creature on the battlefield, it costs 3 mana instead. I think that one's pretty good too.
yeah,
If like you are getting a board large enough to where the amount of mana that you're paying is kind of in line with how much mana you're spending, or rather how much power you're getting. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
you don't want to like pay 4 mana to pump your team and you're getting like 3 power out of it. You want to make sure that you're getting as high a rate of return as possible.
sure.
Like in the Great Desert Prospector decks, like those cards are obviously very powerful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, for sure.
Yeah,
But, like, the unicorn gives +1/+1 and vigilance. I mean, that's a little bit different, but yeah.
Yeah.
Overall.
I like them in the big mana decks, or like the decks where, you know, your monocolored decks like love these types of effects, like in particular, just because they're. I mean, no one's gonna go out of their way to kill a steadfast unicorn. Like it's probably gonna sit there, but like the longer it sits there, like turning that 4 mana into like 7 extra damage, and you get to
Right.
keep your dudes back, like for
Yeah.
defense too. Like it's crazy if you do that like that first time. It is worth its weight in what you paid for it. Getting to do it over and over again, talking about like the mana value component. I don't know how you want to where you want to like draw a line is okay. How much of this activation actually counts as like mana spent on a thing, right? Like, yeah, you're spending mana, but the overall like investment in that card was not a lot, like all things considered.
Yep.
So
Yeah, that's why like Raf Capish or Raf Weatherlight Stalwart is like such a cool commander because like he does that, right? He gives all your things +1/+1 and vigilance even for 5 mana, and then he just gives you ways to utilize your board of creatures otherwise. Like whenever you cast an instant sorcery, you can just tap 2 of them and draw a card.
Yeah.
It's very easy to like play a very interactive game while also just building up a board that can attack very profitably.
Yeah. But yeah, to shift a little bit, I put up the poll for the game. The game just started. I don't know if you guys want to. We can dive right in and then kind of take a break. They're on turn 1, so we haven't missed much. But I guess before we switch there, I gotta if you have channel points, vote. Pick who you think you're gonna win. It's a sweet pod. There'll be lots of combat things happening in this pod, so we'll get to see how all this plays out. There's a phalanx leader, so heroic is going to happen.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful, love it.
But before we do that, real quick, Brad is on the PDH pod. If you don't already listen to the PDH pod, you're wrong. Go listen to the PDH pod.
You're just wrong.
And you guys, I haven't listened to this week's episode because work. But what can people expect this week, Brad?
This week was our Murders MKM set review.
Nice.
Spent about 2 hours or so talking about new cards. We did a very, very small, abbreviated like 3x3 with a couple uncommon signposts. So, most of it was just catching up for the week. Since last week was a live episode, it felt like forever since we put out an actual episode. So, just set review and a little bit of deck building at the end there. Check it out.
Yeah, awesome. And then Derek, You were just on a pretty cool podcast as well. You were on, well, I guess yeah, it's a podcast, Casual Magic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
this came
Spreading
out
the
this
good
past
word.
Tuesday. Yeah, talking about some basic deck building stuff. Pauper Commander for all of you Pauper Commander players watching who don't know how to build Pauper Commander decks, which is probably a surprising number of you. Pointing at my camera, wagging my finger.
Take notes.
Yeah, but it's pretty basic stuff. Shivam's a great guy to talk to about it because he just is fully bought into everything that he says.
Yep.
So it's a lot of fun. So if you haven't, you can go to Casual Magic on YouTube and watch it there, or on Spotify or whatever. But
Yeah, it's a great one. It's good.
I don't have, I don't really do much of my own volition. I show up on other people's things most of the time. But I do do the rules committee streams, of which there will be another one as soon as I finish scheduling it.
Sure.
Probably sometime before MC Chicago. So stay tuned for that.
Very exciting. Yeah. No, check out these two everywhere, anywhere, Twitter/X, Discord, all of the places.
All of the places.
Yeah, let's watch some Magic.
Love to.
Let's do some Magic stuff.
All right, I got it for the people. Now I gotta get it for the you guys. And I'm gonna turn my camera off because my computer is in a frenzy right now. And then I think we're good there. Can you guys see that all right?
Yep, I need to open it.
Watch stream.
Yeah. Feel free to turn off your cameras now. I think we're good with that part. But
okay, so this is just looking at this. This is a great. So Gator's playing Azure Oddsmaker, which is like a great deck for a lot of what we've been talking about.
So one quick note, I was informed by Gator. This is actually Caitlin, not Gator playing.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. He was.
I should have known. I could have sworn those dainty hands belonged to Gator Bait TV, but I stand corrected.
But yeah, no, this is a sweet.
We got Hive Cryptid.
We have Hive.
Wilson Far Traveler deck. I've been pretty stoked to see this one. I haven't had a chance to play against it yet.
Yeah, I've seen
a lot of white decks here.
Yeah, I've seen it played a bit. It does its thing. It leans into the Far Traveler plan, I think, more than the Wilson plan, but the Wilson plan is still very solid. Plan B. That's there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And he's got his Springleaf Drum going. It's just like a card that is insanely good, and I don't think like anybody but the more enfranchised players really understand just how good that card is.
Yeah, it's nuts. And then we have Caitlin on Nazar Oddsmaker.
Lotad on Phalanx Leader. I'm pretty stoked about that.
Yeah, which gets out of hand real quick if it gets
super quick. Super quick. I don't know why I have not built that deck yet. For as much as I love Heroic, it's there in the command zone.
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Yep.
And it pseudo works on everything too. It just spreads the love. So
Yep. Then Braze on this Dan at the Capuchin. So Dan at the Capuchin is like a really interesting card because in this pod specifically, commander damage is not the thing that's going to be killing you.
Right.
And if you can just gain a ton of life off this thing, it's going to be really hard to raise. So it's going to be, I think it's going to require the attention of more than one player to keep him under control.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And Azure Oddsmaker, like I said, is another great commander for baiting people into blocking your things. Really great for combat tricks. Granted, I don't think this list is as flush with those sorts of things as a list that I built would be. But it's a commander that really plays into those play patterns
for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good way. That's a good deck to grind down the table.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then I have not seen. I don't know if you've seen Hives or any Wilson Far Traveler deck. Is it a Voltron style?
So I've seen Hive play a bit. It leans a lot into the blink stuff. So it has initiative. It has a lot of O-ring effects just to as removal. It runs the kind of solid green-white interaction the vines.
Okay, so it's Selesnya mid-range almost.
Yeah, it's very mid-rangey, but it focuses on the blink theme a lot, and then it has the auras and stuff to let Wilson do the Voltron thing if it needs to, but it's really good at disenchanting everything every turn. It runs all the we saw Kasali Pirate Mage.
Kasali Pirate Mage, perfect.
But
perfect
it runs
example.
The Conclave Naturalists, the Wickerbaugh Elder, and is flickering those to just make sure nothing nothing of a that's scary is going to stick around. So I think it may have some problems with Phalanx Leader just getting so big, everything getting so big. But it'll do a number on probably what Bray's trying to do, and I mean,
that's something I've been thinking about a lot lately. Is like as a way to attack, kind of like the current competitive metagame is like making sure that not only do you have a clock in the command zone, but like you're doing things around it without that don't require you to devote like tons of resources to it. You know,
that's when you get blown out. Yep.
Yeah, so like being able to like do this whole game plan, like this blinky, flickery stuff, and then like getting Wilson to a point where he can just like attack every turn, like pressure people's life totals. I think like dirtling is a really easy way to just kind of like lose control of the game.
Yeah.
And with Flicker decks, I mean that's kind of my soapbox on Flicker decks. I feel like 75% of people who build them, that's exactly what happens. It just gets too dirtily, and they're not closing out the game.
Like that?
You're just
attacking Brad.
No. I'm attacking like you have no idea how many people I've seen play Flicker decks where it's just like the most
so tempting,
laborious game to play.
So tempting. You're like,
I know.
Flicker Spirited Companion. Holy crap!
It's all just kind of like very low hanging fruit.
But then you play it, and that was my problem the first 2 or 3 times I played OG was, I did all the stuff and I drew cards and I flickered all my stuff, but now I can't attack because everything's got summoning sickness.
Yeah, you just kind of sit around till you get like a Sword Coast Serpent that you can just like attack somebody with.
The games I've won with OG is because of Sword Coast Serpent. Yep.
Yeah.
100%. But yeah, it's easy to fall in that trap with flicker decks for sure. They're so juicy. They're so tempting.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the one thing I like about Hive's, like Hive is playing like big mid-rangey creatures, like I mentioned Naturalist and Wickerbot Elder, like those are like
Naturalist is great.
You get to attack with them, and then you get to flicker them. They get to be on defense. They get to do the thing where they blew up something.
Siphon Mind from CJ.
Yeah.
Nice.
Siphon Mind. Yeah. Love me a good Siphon Mind.
I do too.
That card's so good. Ooh, Strands from Hive into the Yard, free value.
It's good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Good discard. Thank you, CJ.
I'm not sure what Bray discard. Oh, just a plains card.
Plains, yeah.
But yeah, what
I didn't mean to cut you off there, Bobby. Sorry.
Oh no, you're good. So like I like your point about like I mean I love flickering and dirtling as much as the next person, but like if I could just flicker a Muldrifter forever, I would. I don't care if I'm drawing cards that do anything. I'm drawing cards and I'm flickering. So
it's that tactile thing that Derek talks about.
That's why. Oh, dude, don't even start. That's why like I advocate really heavily for cards that have evasion. Like Mistraven is like a perfect example. Some of that comes in, bounces a creature, and then you can just like attack with it pretty much uncontested against most decks.
Yeah, but I think that's what I mean, I'm sure Hive has Spirited Companion. I don't remember Hive's list, but like,
I'm sure it's got a lot of like the usual suspects.
Yeah, but there are also enough of like the bigger, more impactful things that it is trying to close out the game. I think reasonably, quickly, all things considered, in a 4-player game.
I think the 99 is certainly pretty solid. But I mean, I guess my big thing with like a Wilson deck like this is that half of your command zone is not really doing much.
But I think it's the Wilson half though. Like, and
no, I think the Wilson half is not doing very much.
Right, but I think the one thing I like about Wilson partnered with Far Traveler is because Wilson's kind of a pain in the butt to kill. Far Traveler is always going to be good, and people aren't playing enough Disenchants right now. I think
that's for
and so because Wilson is like obnoxious to kill, and like Hive isn't making it like. It got played on turn 2, and it's still just sitting there 2/2 and hasn't turned sideways once. I don't think.
Has not turned sideways at all. Yeah,
so
that's correct.
It's just like guaranteeing that Far Traveler is going to proc every turn with the Springleaf Drum on whatever you want it to proc. So, I mean, like I agree with you. It is like you're not
and
maximizing.
I like this approach. If he's playing a true, or if they're playing a true like mid-range style deck. You could almost put the Selesnya commander at the helm, but I like this approach of
I guess my first instinct is that like if you're like the power of background commanders or partners is that you have two cards in the command zone that both do things, like 2 functional cards, and I guess I just don't see Wilson's being like as functional, so I'm just kind of like about that, but that's just me,
Right? No, I don't agree. I mean, I don't disagree.
Danitha is loaded up.
Yeah, and while we've been going on about that, Danitha has gotten huge. I think it's an all that glitters and. Darksteel Axe and something else that I can't quite make out. Is that a Shield of Duty and Reason?
Yeah, I believe it is Shield of Duty and Reason.
Yeah,
good call.
That I was facing down this exact very.
No
if not this
attacks.
exact board, this very similar board last night. So,
Yeah, that's what that is.
No attacks from Bray. That was kind of surprising.
yeah,
Well, it is vigilance, so I think he's attacking.
yeah.
Oh,
it looks
okay.
like Hive.
I read
Hive
passes
took a
and passed
chunk.
the turn. But
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's an all the glitter, so it gives it +5,
Yeah,
6, 7.
Hive took 9 from Daneth.
Yeah.
Right there. So.
And then I mean that's lifelink, so it's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, Daneth has lifelink, vigilance, and first strike.
Yep, sure, certainly does.
Keyword soup.
Keywords are so good. So good.
Keywords are super good.
Speaking of keyword soup, Wilson also know keyword soup.
Yeah,
I
like
me too. I
Daneth quite a
definitely
bit.
see that with holding auras for Wilson. I definitely get that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
Wilson loves auras.
Yeah, of these commanders, I personally haven't built any of these. Have either of you guys built either of these?
I
of
have
these decks?
not. I have not. I've theorized some Wilson decks, but I've never taken the plunge. I've never played or built Azra because that's one of those that like it's built so well by so many different people that like if I want to play it, I'll just play test it on Moxfield and hop in somebody's stream. Like I don't feel like I need to play it or build it for my collection sort of thing. And then Daneth, I was looking at. I've looked at before because I built not Rayav, Killian. I built Killian, and that was a trap, to put it lightly. But I think Danitha has a lot more going for her than Killian does. Killian's very cool. It cheapens auras, it cheapens spells that targets creatures, basically. But you find yourself in Orzhov and just hell-bent by turn 3 every single game, and then you're just dead. And then Phalanx Leader, like I said before, I'm surprised I don't have it built yet because I just love Heroic. What about you, Derek?
Yeah, I've become close to building Danitha. I haven't built really anything else. I've only played one Far Traveler deck ever, and that was Sivrus Far Traveler, which was a busted, and I took it apart immediately after playing it.
Good busted?
Yeah, it was really, really good.
I love
it. It was very good. But I have not built any of these specific decks. It looks like we're giving Interior Protection. We're
Phalanx Leader's popping off here. Is it Angelic Intervention, I think?
I think so, and that looks like Blessed Breath.
Yeah. So start off with an Angelic Intervention.
Yep.
Put counters on everything and Phalanx thing, protection from something.
So Phalanx is going to get 2 counters.
Yeah. And then Blessed Breath. More protection.
More protection, yeah.
More counters.
You got to. You got to. In a deck like this, you have to run all that.
It's got a fencing ace. So that's a double striker. That's pretty good.
That's gross.
And a flyer, it looks like.
Flyer, yeah.
Yeah, a couple little guys. And during Bond Warden and Kite Sail Scout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of damage.
That is a ton of damage.
I imagine it's all going at Bray, honestly. These are the only ways that you're going to force down gaining 9 life a turn off Danitha.
Yeah, that's
and another
roll.
What is this?
It gives things +1/+1. Is that what that card is?
Spell table, work with me. I don't know what that card is.
Something that's Radiance.
Wojek Siren. Yeah.
Oh
Radiance,
Radiance.
Creature, and each other creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn.
Importantly, with Radiance, it also infects your opponent's creatures. It's symmetrical. But I don't think that matters here.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not.
Because with the Phalanx, Lotad's going to get the buff, the bigger buff.
So, I mean, you have to attack Bray with the unblockable stuff, or otherwise he just blocks with something with Danitha, and
it gets eaten very quickly.
Yeah.
It gains a ton of life. Yeah.
The double striker might be able to do some work, but
yeah, I think he gave protection to the double strike to fencing ace and phalanx leader. So I imagine those would be going at Bray.
Okay.
Bond Warden is dying.
And then the backup's gonna happen. So, or not the backup. What does the card do? When it dies,
it gives it counters. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So if he attacked Bray, then.
And he did. It looks like Bray went down to 27. Was a 32.
Well, so if Bond Warden is dead, what blocked it?
I think.
Or who did it attack? I mean, it's weird that it would just attack and die.
Yeah, I think blocks were declared, and then that's when the protection was cast.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know.
Yeah. All right.
Who knows? We'll never find out.
These FNM events are really cool because you get to see some of the decks that you're not going to see at a tournament.
Or maybe decks that you will start to see at tournaments.
Or you'll see like the evolution. Like you'll see them here to begin with.
Right, just like workshopping something.
Yeah, workshopping out, and then you get to see kind of as the deck grows. It's just really cool, I think.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Speaking of tournaments, real quick, we got a whole bunch of them coming up.
We certainly do. This is gonna be a big year for PDH tournaments.
Yeah. So real quick, I know I'll leave this on so we're not missing anything. But
yeah,
I mean, next weekend is when it all kind of starts. We have 2 on Saturday next week. There's the Common Cause tournament hosted by Chris One More Game and a few other folks. February 10th, 11 a.m. Eastern. Go to omgmtg.com to enter. I think it's $15 to enter and $200 first place.
Like that.
Entry fee may be a little less than that. I don't recall, so don't get mad at me. But you're also helping. Some of the proceeds are going to Project Hope, so there's a good cause attached to it too. So you get to play PDH, you get to help people. Pretty awesome event. I played in the last one. Excited for this one. And to interrupt that, Hive is doing some Hive things. All That Glitters on Wilson.
Reprobation.
And then a Reprobation on... Looks like a Phalanx leader based on Lotad. But Lotad's camera kind of froze there. So
yeah,
we'll...
the world may never know.
Yeah, we'll see what happened there. But... So yeah, now Wilson is doing the thing where it gets scary. Because it gets what? +1, +2, +3. It has 4 if I... Far Traveler, Spring Leaf Gem, All That Glitters, and Reprobation. So All That Glitters is real gross. And now Wilson is a very scary threat. All out of nowhere. So... See, you were so worried about Wilson not being scary, Derek. And here it is. But yeah, so back to tournaments. So there's that one, and then there's also a tournament being held by Nick Please, and it's another Pauper Commander tournament. There's a point system. I believe it is free to enter.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And it should be cool. They have a good chunk of people signed up, it sounds like, so that'll be awesome. It starts later in the day, so you can start off playing Common Cause and then play that one if your things don't go so well.
There you go.
I think it's awesome. We have so many tournaments going, and then we have the next Sanctuary coming up in March 16th, I believe. I should know the date I set up.
That is correct.
Yeah, March 16th, 1 p.m. Entry $16. Winner gets all but the $1 that gets processed and paid to the payment platform goes into the prize pool, and then split up amongst the top 4, maybe top 16 if we get enough people. I would love to have to pay out things to the top 16.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And then the winner also gets to make a really cool custom token. So that will give out to people who play in FNM, play in tournaments, play in leagues, all that fun stuff. And then there's a paper tournament coming up in April in Philadelphia, or just outside Philadelphia at Phoenixville. There's an oubliette being cast by Caitlin. This is gross. I don't know what it's targeting, but it's going to be gross.
Yep, it's always gross.
But yeah, that one's hosted by Dallas Walker, who's held the last few Riches to Rags tournaments. And this one's being held alongside a big CDH tournament, Punt City 3, hosted by Eminence.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So I'm really excited for this one. I'm making the drive and or flight out there. And it's awesome. And I'm really excited for this one because I think it'll get some more eyes on PDH.
Yeah.
I
think being in the same kind of thing as a
do we know what got
larger CDH tournament is awesome.
Yeah. I cannot tell what got oublietted. Something.
I don't see anything in the graveyard. I don't see a protection spell.
Yeah, no one moved anything either. So
right, no one moved anything or marked anything. Okay, we'll figure it out.
We'll see. I suspect it could be a Wilson, but a Kasali Pride Mage is gonna not care.
Shouldn't pay for a ward though.
Oh, yeah. So maybe it's
Oh,
not.
that's true. Hmm.
We'll find out, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that tournament should be awesome. And then yeah, there's plenty more to come this year too. I believe. I know there'll be more
Yeah, I'm
sanctuary
sure.
tournaments. I assume there'll be more common cause tournaments. There's
Yeah,
maybe
it's
going
only
to be
first half of the year. Yeah.
an RIW tournament in the summer.
Oh
So,
yeah, heck yeah.
and
Stoked
MagicCon
for that one.
Chicago. That's just like
Yeah, Chicago's coming up in like 3 weeks.
In
yeah,
a couple weeks.
3
Not-
weeks from today.
not a tournament, but just like a cool PDH gathering that
Vibe.
I'm very
Yeah, a
excited for.
We'll be
PDH
playing
convention.
it. Yeah, it's competitive in this, or it's a tournament in the sense that we will be playing casual games with a competitive REL.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll be a good fun time.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, that is. So then Azra, I really like Ginger Brute in this Azra.
I'm a
deck.
huge fan.
I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Ginger Brute in general.
That's a good card.
Tying back to like the combat trick discussion, it kind of has one built in where it like gets to like be pseudo unblockable. 9 times out of 10 it's unblockable. There's not a lot of like creatures that get played that have haste on their own. There's not
Right.
none, but it's a low number.
And just being able to cash it in for life, I think, is a
And
really underutilized part of the card.
And it's like unassuming. Like it's a good political tool when you're talking about initiative and monarch getting passed around. Like people are like, hey, can I? Well,
Can I get in for one?
you can ask for it nicely, or you can just like force it anyway,
Yeah.
and take it via the Ginger Brute. Cause
Oh, look at that sweet token on the table.
ooh, speaking of tokens, yeah,
Ooh,
Bray.
yeah, speaking of tokens.
Bray.
So I imagine the Oubliette hit Danitha because we just equipped the Prying Blade to Hopeful Eidolon and attacked.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I mean, did anyone eat a Danitha attack? Because Danitha has
Not that
vigilance,
I
right?
see.
So
I don't
yeah.
think
don't-
I don't see
Danitha
a lot
I didn't
of
see
has
those.
any
had
ways.
another turn
Yeah.
since they attacked Hive.
Oh yeah, right. Okay.
Unless that's CJ's graveyard and Oubliette got countered somehow.
No, it's on the
Nah,
board.
Okay.
'cause that's-
No, it's not. Okay. Huh. Yeah, it's somewhere. Phalanx leader untapped, so I don't think it's that.
Yeah, probably Danitha. Although it's not explicitly marked.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I think that's the right call.
Yeah.
What's that?
Just dealing with
Oublietting
the-
Danitha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like
Yeah,
if you
That's
there's
a lot of juice.
there's nothing good to hit from Hive because the Kasali
Yeah.
Pride Mage is looking right at you.
Right.
And I think the reprobation's on a Phalanx leader, and if that's the case, Danitha is easily
Oh,
the
okay.
scariest thing. So,
Mm-hmm.
well, it's
Yeah,
a
that's
serious
fair.
thing that can be dealt with.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be a super grind fest if both Danitha and Phalanx leader are unable to do anything.
Yeah. Luckily, the white cards are good at destroying enchantments. So
That is true.
one
that is
day may be free.
This is like the one downside of like these. I mean, maybe not mono color decks in general, but like the one color decks that are so reliant on their commander in like a Voltron-y type way, and Phoenix Leader isn't necessarily Voltron-y, but like if they get answered with like these kind of ways and you don't have, we saw Lotad blue 2 protections was there just to like pump things, right? Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
those would have been awesome, being held
Yeah,
up
and that's-
instead.
That's a lot of the problem mono white / Orzhov just has at being competitive.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just end up dumping half your hand or your whole hand to get one combat step successful, and now what do you do?
Yeah. I
And that's
think
the thing too about like competitive decks. I know you mentioned it during sort of the pre-show there, Derek, where you want a commander that can, and Gators talked about it too. You want a commander that can win on its own. Like in the command zone, that is a threat and can possibly end the game if it goes unchecked. And that's what mono white tends to struggle with a lot, is having that sort of commander. Granted, we're not watching 2 of those now, like Danitha, Phalanx Leader. They are very powerful, but for the most part, like there's just no
Yeah, like Fenix Leader requires like a lot of support. Danitha
a
less
lot of
so.
support, right?
But yeah, no, I mean what you're saying makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and it's just the struggles mono white has. So
Yeah. Yeah, once you kind of just play out your cards and I mean, you're just drawing off the top of your library.
you're just done. Yeah, you're just top decking it, and that is super feel bad.
Yeah, and especially like white, mono white in particular doesn't have a lot in the way of card advantage engines.
Nope. We got to rely on the Bonder's ornaments and maybe flickering a companion, and heaven forbid what type of game we're playing. We could play like your temples under attack, and that's about it. Your mind stones and your commander spheres, and
Yeah.
Ooh. But that's why it's always interested me things like your reverent hoplites, things commanders that make a ton of tokens on their own, like your devotion to white, and it makes a 1/1 soldier for each one of those. Like it's super interesting. It's very fragile. I mean, you can make 30 1/1 tokens, but I don't know, an electricity is gonna clear your board pretty quick. So, but stuff like that is super interesting because it is sort of its own little engine, its own army in a can.
Sure.
3-win Spectre and a Clue Pop from Hive.
Yep.
Attack with the big Wilson.
Speaking of card advantage engines, this is what we're gonna see.
Is that Wilson up to double digits?
Sure is.
Yeah,
it has an ethereal armor and an all that glitters. So
aha, that'll do it.
That
will do it.
It's a scary bear.
The scare bear.
Like it's both awesome and terrifying that we now have so many of those types of effects. The plus X, where X is the number of enchantments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Those, I mean, so many decks just get so much better because of it. Like all that glitters, also enabling artifact strategies is crazy.
That is crazy. Yeah.
I mean, it's like took over 60 card popper and is still a force there as a result.
Major.
Ethereal armor has been a force in 60 card too ever since it was printed. Satyr Enchanter loves these.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, I think we're going to see more of those over time, and I am disgusted thinking about how I'm going to have to keep dying to suited up bears and other scary things.
Hey, you just got to play your Serene Voice.
Serene.
I think that's the name of the card.
Serene Heart, the blow up all
Serene Heart?
enchantments.
Yeah, Serene Heart. Yeah. Oh, blow up all local enchantments.
Yeah,
Oh,
no
local.
global.
That's
no
right.
globals here.
No globals here, buddy.
Well,
Yeah,
the
you're right,
auras.
Gator, 2 mono white decks is awesome. I was surprised when the game popped up that there were 2 mono white decks here. That's pretty sweet.
The lack of blue is disturbing. My heart.
My heart.
No, Azra's. I really like what Azra I've seen from Azra as of late too. I know it. I feel like it was really talked about a lot for a while, but I never saw it played anywhere. People always talk about oh, it's sweet, oh, it's good. Never saw it anywhere. It's starting to see some more play as of late, and I mean, leveraging the madness cards. I think this is Gator Bait's list has a bunch of madness stuff, so it's not even ever card disadvantage. Like we see here, a Grave Scrabbler is being discarded. So it's just turning it into a card, usually cheapening the spell and drawing too with all these evasive dudes. Like Azra Oddsbreaker is really sweet.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, very sweet.
I'm a big man. I like madness. I don't like a lot of the madness cards in competitive personally. That's just me. But I love looting. I love self discard. So this deck.
Yeah, I mean the madness stuff is it's a harder sell for me if I'm not discarding cards from the command zone. Azra just enables that every turn for free.
Yeah.
And those are the decks that are really good with madness cards.
Yeah.
I never want to be stuck without a way to pitch them because then they're really bad. Like Grave Scrabbler literally does nothing. Dark Withering is a 6 mana Doom Blade. These cards are just useless if you're not discarding them.
Yeah, they're not good deals when you're hard casting them for their, which is I have a Lazotep Chancellor deck that I like playing, and it runs a few of them because it runs so many stinking looters, all of the 2 mana ones, all the 3 mana ones, all the ones that trigger when you do something, when you look at
Yeah.
Summon Funny, but like even then I'm like hesitant to run too many of them just because I could just not draw those and I will be really sad.
Yeah, it's that.
Oh, we got the
This is a good
Shinobi.
one. This
We
is
got
one
the
of my
Shinobi.
favorite cards. Here we go.
Yeah, that's a
Get
good
him.
one.
This is like this ninja is insanely good.
Yeah. Okiba game Shinobi bouncing a tormented soul after no blocks.
Right.
Yeah.
Someone's about to lose a bunch of cards.
I think it went at Brayu, right? Based on the life totals.
So like this is like one of those other like great synergies because you're already playing cards that are just like unblockable, so ninjas are kind of free.
Yep. Oh, it's
Grant.
when it hive.
Oh.
This card's
Lost a Scroll Shift and an Ash Barrens.
Yep.
Which kind of, I mean, I like that move. Like, Lotad and Bray are kind of crippled at this point with their commanders being out of commission. So, and this bear is very, very scary. So, I think.
Well, it's like, and here's the thing: is like, even if Bray gets control of the commander again, it's probably not going to Caitlyn. I mean,
right?
It's going to be pretty easy to get his power up to the point where like well, I guess Wilson has first strike now too, but you can kill Lotad. I mean, you in a game like this, like I think Caitlyn is a pretty integral piece of the puzzle to breaking through the bear.
When I think this is
it's gotta be. Yeah.
I think this is going to result in some really interesting, like a chain, like.
Oh no, I guess
Lotad
Deneth has
wants-
protection from green though, right? So who cares? Yeah, you can just send it at Hive.
Yeah, like Lotad wants Hive dead to unlock Phalanx Leader too. So like,
right. Yep.
if you can kind of distract, Lotad's going to be like all aboard the kill Hive train. So if you're Caitlyn, you kind of like a Collision Honor Guard from Bray.
Interesting. I'm not sure what that does here, but
yeah, I don't know if that helps.
Might be a little late for it, but it's a good card overall.
What's
Prismatic Ward?
Prismatic Ward.
Interesting.
This is going to be a very obnoxious Collision Honor Guard.
Yeah, Whales and Mizu, this is a fun table. Yeah, they are all red zone decks. It's great.
Yeah.
It's good to watch. A stinking combo here.
Yeah, who plays that?
Who plays that? Come on now.
But yeah, I like the like dynamic that it's gonna like unfold here with all like the various, the oubliette, the reprobation. Like once one player gets killed, like it starts this like chain of events where like, okay, now this has unlocked someone's like entire game plan again.
Yep. Yeah, and these are like where combat gets really interesting, like in how you make your decisions about where to go.
Yeah. Like it's still going to be very hard to connect with Hive, generally speaking. So
right.
Thanks to Wilson. But...
So hypothetical question: if you're Hive and you're, I don't know if they are or not, but say you're Hive and you're about to die, Lotad's going to get their commander back. Do you crack the Pride Mage and blow up the oubliette and just see what happens with the rest of the game, or do you just put it in your graveyard or shuffle it back in and call it a game?
I think you maybe like you try and negotiate that maybe like, hey, if I do this,
like that's just such a specific situation. Is it like bad move? Is it like BM to do that? Are you like trying to king make Bray?
I mean generally. I think you want to stay away from those sorts of like king making stuff. Like if I'm going to go out, I'm going to spike play you or something like that. But I mean, as far as like deals go, like if it increases, if it's something that'll prevent you from dying, then like do whatever you want.
Sure. Yeah, I think like if you're dead once whatever resolves and your action is doing that, I would agree not doing that if it's not keeping you alive.
Yeah,
but
true.
I like the possibility of like using it as like a leverage, like hey, like. I know I'm the bad guy, but
like if I blow this up, can you prevent this damage? Sort of thing. Yeah.
Can we unite to take care of this other bad guy, and then you and I hash it out? Whatever has to happen after that. Like
break the deals for the win. There you go, Wales.
It looks like
Bray's out.
Is dead.
Big dead.
Big dead.
Yep.
Yeah, and it looks like just an attack from Wilson.
Yep.
And then a flicker, a Llanowar Visionary. So.
Oof, good one. think Far Traveler. I know there's a lot of decks with Far Traveler, but I think and maybe it's just the decks that I end up running up against. I don't see a lot of Far Traveler decks, so I feel like it's a little underexplored.
It's very good.
It is very good.
It's
very good. I just built Levon with Far Traveler, and I was super impressed by it. It's so much fun.
I love Far Travel. I mean, as I mentioned, I love to dirtle and just go to Value Town. I would love to be the mayor one day of Value Town, but
I'll be the waste management professional in Value Town.
but I think part of my issue with Far Traveler is that I'm not excited by any of the commander pairings. Really, like Far Traveler is trying to do its own thing, and I don't particularly think any of the have a background commanders are aligned with it. I mean, Abdel is, but Abdel, Abdel doesn't need help.
Pretty spicy with Lulu.
That's true.
But yeah, overall, I think that's a lot of the reason it doesn't see a lot of play is just it works well, or it works with all the commanders. Obviously, not just because of the text box, but like it works with all the commanders. But it does end up being very dirtily if you don't do it right.
Yeah, which is why I really like what Hive has done here. Like, you have there are two different plans. Like kind of Derek touched on earlier. Like the Wilson plan and the Far Traveler plan are different. Mm-hmm. Wilson kind of helps the Far Traveler plan just because Wilson's hard to kill, so that means Far Traveler is going to happen more often.
Constantly do its thing. Yep.
Whereas other commanders are either like Levon is it's scary, right? People want to kill Levon, so if Levon is getting killed, your Far Traveler is doing nothing. And I like that part of Wilson where it's like it's built in ward and every other keyword,
right?
Just help it make sure the Far Traveler plan is going to happen, and it doesn't take a lot of cards.
Just put in work.
Yeah, and it doesn't take a lot of cards to make Wilson a plan.
Correct. It does not. Yeah.
See, this would be a really cool spot where pump spells would maybe put Hive out of the game in combination with like an evasive dude like Gingerbrute.
Yeah, he's had a low life total.
Sure.
Tormented Soul that we know is, I think, still.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah, Tormented Soul I think is still in Caitlin's hand.
A ram through here would do some serious work.
Yeah, there it is. Blood Fountain. Thieves' Tool is also a card I think is underplayed. I like that.
Very underplayed.
I like it too.
It quite a bit. Yep.
This Wilson I think is a good example. Something that I've been thinking about lately is just how much better like pump spells are, or not pump spells, like bounce spells are compared to a lot of other.
That's true.
Piece of interaction
Literally,
right now.
Man, I was just thinking that like we've talked a lot tonight about flicker spells and stuff, but I've really because of all the reasons we said not to play flicker spells, like I've been trying to get away from that in my own personal decks, and I've been leaning more heavily into bouncing my own creatures instead of the flicker stuff.
They're just super cheap. Like for things that are huge that you can't burn out, like it just gets rid of them for it just gets rid of them for a turn, buys you a window.
Gets rid of commander attacks for a turn,
Yeah, I mean, they just kind of do a lot of things that a lot of other removal spells may fall short on.
Yep.
There's no color restriction, non-black stuff, like you can get rid of black creatures, whereas Doomblade may not. It just has no restrictions. It just gets rid of a thing for a turn, and a lot of games of Commander just come down to creating one good window to kill somebody, and then just kind of snowball from there.
Yep.
You don't need to just control the board. You just need to control one turn, really.
And you talk about dealing with it for a turn. Sometimes that turn turns into 2 or 3 because you're doing it after they don't have enough mana to recast the thing. Then it also has to be, has to get through summoning sickness.
Especially with Dragon's Rage Channel, Dead and Gone is a really great removal spell because the only removal you have is burn based, and you can't kill Wilson with that.
Right.
So casting Gone and paying 3 mana to bounce a thing, it's just a really big game.
Yeah, and this is now a flying fencing ace.
Oh, naturally, sure.
Was that Angelic Wings?
I believe it was Angelic Gift. The one.
Angelic Gift, yeah.
Is that the one that cantrips? Yeah.
Flying,
good one.
Flying
That's a good
card.
one.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do in mono white.
Yeah, it's a 3/3 flying fencing ace. I mean, if you can give it like 2 more counters, and it's lethal.
Yeah, I mean, Hive
Oh, I
does
guess,
have
well,
a
I guess he
blocker.
has. I guess he has a Sky Scanner. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, Chomano's blessing.
oh, Chamana. Now Wilson is going to kill
Oh
someone.
no.
now.
Yeah, Wilson angry.
He's gonna probably kill.
Uh,
Oh, I don't know if he has commander damage on any of them.
yeah, he has commander damage on Lotad 3.
Oh, he's got 3. Okay,
that's
so that'll
enough.
kill Lotad.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Lotad only has white blockers.
No.
But also,
Yeah, somebody dead.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who are you more worried about here if you're Hive?
I mean, I'm worried about Lotad personally. If you kill, because if you kill,
Is it because of the flyers or just the the board itself?
I think they're
the
just
go-
bigger. Like all of, I mean, yeah, Caitlyn has 2 1/1s that are unblockable, and like an Okiba gang is annoying, but like, and now that you have a totem guide harder beast too, like you don't care about Caitlyn's creatures. They just don't do
That's fair.
enough.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, you could maybe get got by
Yeah,
another ninjutsu thing, but I don't know.
Azra tends to grind you down with resources, so.
And now you
Cloak,
don't
okay.
care about your life total at all.
Holy
so,
cow! Armadillo cloak. Yep.
yeah.
Yep,
This
yep.
is gross.
Uh-oh.
So, cashing in that clue for Lotad.
Cashing in that clue.
I don't know.
No mana left, sadly.
Yeah, this is not looking good for anyone.
That is
named
a
not Hive.
disgusting bear. Yeah, I love Armadillo cloak.
Card's so
Big time.
gross.
It is.
So gross.
I love just cards that if you're playing a 1v1 match and someone plays it, you're like, all right, I guess that's game.
Yeah.
And Armadillo cloak sort of provides that.
Yeah, it looks like Caitlyn is the one who bites the dust first here, so
Okay.
different than what
Interesting.
I would have expected. But I mean, Lotad also like with the armadillo.
I want to
cloak,
ask Hive about that, like what the thought process is there. Not that I disagree.
With
I just-
Armadillo Cloak or killing Caitlyn?
No, with killing Caitlyn.
Well, I think once you have armadillo cloak, you go from not caring about like your life total part. The life total thing that Lotad scares you about doesn't matter anymore. And Caitlyn is more likely to have something that outright kills Wilson, because it's a black-red deck. So, as opposed to a mono-white deck. So I think that is maybe part of the calculus, but
Yeah, I think so.
you
There
also
we go.
like
Good
Hive
game.
also had prismatic strands in yard to like
Oh, I
which
did forget about that.
definitely
Yeah.
like stops
Good
whatever
call.
Lotad's trying to do. So
Yeah,
exactly.
Yep, scoop it up.
yeah, no, that was a really cool game. I'm gonna give out the channel points real quick, and then we'll take a quick little break and see if there's a second game to run through. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
See you in a few minutes.
yeah, someone's getting points here. Wilson Far Traveler, go. Oh, it looks like Wales. Yep. All right, all the points to Wales. So we will be
Congrats, Wales.
yeah, enjoy your points that you get to not do a whole lot with, but ignore that part.
Just save them.
Yeah, save them and then keep highlighting your messages. I know how much you love doing that. So I can never lose a game. Remember, okay, well,
That's right. Gamblers never lose.
yeah. But all right, we will be right back in a minute.
Right.
Yeah.
faster than you can climb. The sky, it rises beneath us. Our old wings cannot carry us. For it is time to grow from our old wings. Rebuild from nothing. Fight for something. Only the strong live on to tell the tale of history and the new origin.
This could be the worst it gets, and nobody would ever
myself flying so high, and I feel the lights burning down all the lies. I swear I see how my eyes turn blind. Now I think about what I have to think about the rest of time. 'Cause my fantasy is nothing less and nothing more than lies. All I need is something strong that may destroy my wish to fight with my neutral soul and what I used to hate and used to love and used to
Our sound. And we are back.
Hello.
And we're back.
We're back.
Welcome back, Derek.
We did it.
Welcome
back.
back.
Buddy.
Just
Welcome
in
back,
time
Brad.
for an island
Look at that.
on behalf of
Mizzou
Mizu-san.
with an island.
Perfect timing. Yeah, so we're
Oh,
back
no
for game
red light
2.
button's playing.
Some of the same faces, some of them not. There's definitely more, 100% more combo in this pod. Infinite percent more. There's a combo
That's a good
deck.
percent.
Yeah, we got Mizu on Malcolm Arden. We got Lotad on Phalanx Leader again. We got Hive on Wilson Far Travel again, and then we have Actual Gator on Gut Feywild.
Yeah,
So,
big gator.
Yep.
Yeah.
And everybody but Mizzou had a turn 1 play, so pretty decent.
That's a card I
on the
like.
table.
That sprite there. The one that enters, it's a 1/1 flyer for 1, or you can pay 2 mana when it enters to stun a thing.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like got a little kicker on there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Ooh, and Mizu's gonna do a little peeking.
Yeah,
A little peek
Mi-
in.
Mizu had a turn 1 play. Just it's a little after the fact. So,
Oh, that's true. A little delayed.
yeah.
Peeking on Gator's hand here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Could be entire mouth. Ooh, keep watch. Good one. Ornithopter of Paradise, Ichor Wellspring.
That Keep Watch is going to do some work in this pod, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure.
I would love casting that on a Lotad turn at some point. I'm fairly certain. So, I'm really excited to see
for
this blue gut deck. You know, we normally see
Yeah.
Inspiring Leader. I've seen Agent of the Iron Throne.
Throne,
I was
so
gonna
that's
say,
a
you see
popular one, yeah.
the black background. Yep.
Yeah, I haven't. I've seen blue gut here and there, but not.
I feel like I just played
frequently.
against
Yeah.
a Feywild Visitor deck, but it wasn't gut. I'm trying to remember what the.
Oh yeah, that was
commander
me. That was Lulu and me.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, I was the problem.
Oh yeah,
What
Blue
is-
Lou. Yeah,
yeah.
Blue Lou. Yep.
What is this?
You
What
were
is
the
this
problem.
card? Is it an
That's an amorphous axe. It
amorphous
makes-
axe?
Oh, sure is.
Okay.
Makes
Yeah, I
a
guess
Come
it all
on to a
makes
creatures.
pirate.
everything. Yeah,
Lotad's attacking it with a. Is that a shadow creature?
yeah. I believe that's a.
Yeah, it's a Satari Foot Soldier.
Foot soldier. There we go.
And then we got a
A
Healer's
Healer's
Hawk.
Hawk, okay.
and,
Oh, Healer's Hawk. Miner's Guidewing. Excellent turn.
Yeah.
I love the
The
Guidewing
Guidewing's
so much.
pretty cool.
Yeah. Good turn.
Well,
Got some
Lotad-
flyers on the board. Got some life leak on the board. You know, once he drops that leader, it's just, or phalanx leader, it's going to be beat down.
Yep. Got a Wilson. Gonna attack with Thraben Inspector. What I like to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if you haven't already voted, I might
Get your
have
votes.
missed it. Or no, did I not put it for long enough? I didn't put it for long enough. Let me.
Oh, okay. I
me
saw it pop up, but
Yeah, I might have done it for only a few.
since we all three know the results already, we can't vote.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
We can't say anything.
Insider info. For
Yeah.
We have the script.
We got the script.
Yeah.
Wait, this isn't.
Ornithopter
NFL.
Ornithopter Paradise here, like pretty low key, just like one of the best mana creatures
Yeah, it certainly is.
that you have access to.
Mhm.
It flies, it's got 2 toughness, it costs 2 mana, it gets a mana of any color, it just kind of does it
It's
all.
an
It is an
artifact,
artifact,
like
you get
it
those
just-
synergies as well. Yeah.
There's nothing bad about that card.
It
Mhm.
really outclassed all the all the mirror. Like
Mizzou
Yeah, it
with a
sure
turn
does.
3 Malcolm. There we go. First commander on the board.
And then Malcolm's out. Not afraid to run
Not
Malcolm out
afraid.
there.
That's right.
Well, I guess the one red deck, they have no real interaction. So,
Yeah.
though I mean the white decks, I don't think are going to be doing a whole lot with Malcolm, except like maybe reprobation, lead defy, those sorts of things. But
yeah. Now,
That's
now
heart's
the
content. Get him, Wales.
yeah now the
Oh,
gambling
Mizzou's
is
having a
live.
fit.
Hmm.
I forgot Wilson. What'd I do?
What? No.
Who knows?
It's Lotad's turn here.
Yeah. I wonder, like, if Lotad has a land and a spell, this is insane.
That's what I'm saying.
If Lotad
That's exactly what I'm saying.
only
Yep.
has Phalanx Leader, which I think
It's a little
looks like
mopey,
might
but-
be happening.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Sorry, Wales. Yeah, I totally forgot that Wilson was on the board too. My mic stand was, or my webcam stand was in the way. It's got so much
you
ward,
still
I
have-
couldn't even see it.
I guess you really don't have a lot of like good attacks here. Like Wilson has reach, Ornithopter has 2 toughness and can block.
Yeah, you just
Yeah,
Malcolm.
They really needed that third land.
Yeah.
I guess yeah, the
Just
foot
red.
soldier can get in for 1, but like who cares?
Who cares?
Who cares?
No, that one is going somewhere.
I mean, there's no
all
reason
the
not to.
time.
It can't block.
Right.
So, how do you guys feel? I know we talked about gut a little bit in like the pre-game convo. Have either of you tinkered with various gut builds? What are your thoughts on gut?
I actually, not like taking any credit, but I built Gut Leader within weeks of Commander Legends coming out. I took it apart, but I did build that, and I never revisited it.
I've never built a gut deck. It's not a card that really like appeals to me.
It's super fun.
It's
super
obviously
fun.
very powerful.
Yeah.
If I were to do it, it would be like a red green or a red blue gut deck because I like those color combinations.
Yeah, if I rebuilt it, it wouldn't be Leader. It'd be something different.
I really like the idea of red blue gut. Feywild Visitor plays nice with. Well, okay.
Yeah.
Feywild Visitor is kind of awkward because you need the non-token permanents.
Right. But like it's easy to enable nonetheless. It doesn't really require you to
Now,
do anything too crazy.
I don't think I've seen a Gut Feywild deck play out before. Is it tempo-y? Is it more grindy? How's that usually?
Yeah, probably. I mean, you just get a lot of really great interactive elements with the blue side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like a tempo-y type of deck. Like it plays like the fairy stuff that 60 card popper likes. You only have one of, so
Yeah.
you can only do so much, but you do get some of that fairy synergy, which is cute. But like it's not like making a massively scary board, right? It's just like a bunch of little guys.
Yeah.
And that's like you have to worry about protecting them a lot more. You have to worry about force, all your damage matters because a board wipe and you're just real sad. It's gonna be hard to build back up. And your threats just aren't as scary like they would be in inspiring leader build, or you don't get to do damage while losing all your guys with a gut Iron Throne build.
Yeah.
So it has to hold back a lot of protection and be kind of the fun place a little more in a tempo-y kind of way, I think. So
Yeah. There's a lot of weird tension.
I'm not sure I understand
Yeah,
the question in the chat.
yeah, I don't know. Are draft boosters fake cards? I'm trying to make sure I didn't skip myself. I don't. If you're just talking about the
Draft booster.
the packs, the cards in draft boosters, I don't think so.
Yeah,
They're just-
perfectly.
Draft
perfectly
boosters
legal.
are no longer a product because
That's
now with
true.
Markov Manor we moved to play boosters. But up until this point, draft boosters were just a product that existed for drafting,
just a way to
and
get
they're
extra
certainly
cards.
real.
It was the traditional pack before they started moving to all the different fancy versions and stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you just walked up to the counter and said, "Give me a pack of Magic cards," bam, there
It
you
was
go.
up until
was draft.
whatever set it was. It was just a draft booster.
think-
They were one of the
wasn't
same.
it Throne of Eldraine, they introduced all that, or it was that year. Maybe it was.
It was
Zendikar.
around. I don't remember exactly, but it was around then.
Yeah.
Everything changed when the
Everything changed.
collectors boosters happened.
Yeah.
Oof.
So it looks like Gage just leave a mana up here, and then Mizu's gonna ponder. But what is he pondering? We may never know.
The world may never know. That's a very specific amount of days.
It's a very specific amount of things.
Oh no, Tyron Gaming, you're good. It's
You're-
I mean,
you're
there's so
totally
many
good.
products out there now. There's a lot of confusion surrounding this stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, you were not the only one who has probably asked that question. I'm sure. I wouldn't know what, like, if I were asked like a year ago to what kind of pack I wanted, I would not have the slightest clue. They'd be like, "Do you want the?"
Yeah.
And I don't want to like tangent too much, but how, Derek and Bobby, how did you two feel about set boosters?
I like set boosters. I mean, they don't have a lot of commons in them, but they're fun to open.
Yeah,
I don't.
like I was not a fan of it. I didn't like the concept. Like they were supposed to like tell a story or something, and I never got that from opening one of them.
Yeah, they were kind of like seeded.
Yeah, I was always just like, hey,
like
this,
seeded
this
commons
is
and
this is a
uncommons,
pack
yeah.
of blue cards. What?
Yeah, my first question is going to be what is a set booster? So, I was not the most impacted by them. I don't know. I didn't deal with them too frequently. Like I'm not I like try to get a pack per set. I was saying I think before we started here, but normally like it was a collector's one to try to get a cool shiny thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's see what Mizu wants to do.
Yeah, he's pondering.
He's definitely pondering. I feel like there's a lot of options in his hand, and he's trying to figure out which direction to send the game.
Yeah.
Well, this is he wants to attack, but he also doesn't have great attacks. Like he can
Right.
attack Gator to like force like an unfavorable trade, but I also like I'm probably just letting Mizu have a treasure. I don't care early. I don't think.
Yeah.
Maybe that's foolish, but
No, I think this early on, you're probably fine with that.
Yeah.
And Mizu with the bling token.
yeah. Look, all these people just play FNM and then they get these sweet tokens. What a sick
I
deal.
know. It's crazy.
All right, Dizzy spell transmute. For a 1-drop.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine something that he can cast for 1 white mana. Yeah, longbow. Okay. Combo piece.
Uh-oh. Ruh-oh.
Yeah, we still need a way to untap, and that's probably not going to happen. But now Mizu doesn't have to care about having to get in to get the treasure, which is nice.
Yeah.
Or
And honestly, even the absence of something to go infinite, like longbow is really good on this board.
yeah, just picking off things. Although,
Yeah, just picking them off. Yep.
although now it's going to be much harder with.
Yeah, here we go.
But
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So
like-
casting God's Willing on Phalanx Leader.
so like, this is the awkward part about Phalanx Leader that I think I'm
Yep.
not so excited about. Like you keep blowing all these protection spells, like
Just to get triggers.
at like
Yeah.
sorcery speed or like at just to get triggers. Like
Yeah.
I think if I were, I mean, and maybe I am wrong for this because I am not an aggro player. Like I think I would just I'd play this pump spells that I want to attack, and like
Mhm.
just like when you have to play a protection spell, play them, and then you get the buff. Then like you don't have.
Yeah,
to,
it's the same kind of weird tension I found when I played like Illuminator Virtuoso for a little bit.
Sure.
Is like
yeah.
you need triggers, but like so many of your interactive spells are protection.
Right.
So with Fangs Leader specifically, like I would not probably use protection spells proactively like that. I would probably attack, and if they block, then I would use a protection spell to
Then
pump my
use it.
team.
Yep. 100%.
Like do things like that. But I don't know. I'm not the pilot here. This is not my forte.
Yeah.
This is a card that gives things a
guiding
counter
voice. Yeah, it's +1,
Guiding
+1,
voice.
Yeah.
and learn. So probably looting.
and rummage, basically.
yeah, rummage.
Yeah, rummage, not looting. My apologies.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of, despite how you play it out, there's a lot of telegraphing in mono white decks,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, part of that's my play style, right? I like being the guy who sits back and like reacts as opposed to
Right.
like is pushing, the pace of the game.
Right.
So
Like when you need to use like reactive spells to generate like proactive like momentum on a board like this, you need to put yourself in situations where you're going to need to use those spells. Like it
Yeah.
feels really bad to just like in your main phase God's Willing to get a trigger, like
Right.
put people in a scenario where like you're incentivized or they're incentivizing you to protect your creatures. So it feels a little bit better. You're getting the same effect, generally speaking. And going back to like the combat trick discussion, like if you attack with Phalanx Leader, they block with like a Thraben Inspector because it's a 1/1 or whatever to try and force a interaction, then you pump your thing, or maybe they make a bad trade, not thinking you have something. I don't know, but
Right.
Yeah.
like you can put yourself in situations where you can use those protection spells in a more kind of high yield way.
Yeah, and like you're leaving some damage on the table is like the cost, right? But it's does that amount of damage reduce your ability to win the game significantly? I don't think so. It
Sure.
just is all contextual, right? That's the
Yeah, I would take away a little bit of damage if it meant removing a blocker from the game or whatever.
I mean, like losing Phalanx Leader, like put you down. Like he has 2 lands in play. He's not even sure to ever get Phalanx Leader again at this point.
Yeah.
So like holding up.
Yes,
protection
there's a couple
seems
ways
super
you can
valuable.
look at it. Like if you want to just like protect Phalanx Leader, or if you just want to like get as much damage or get as many spells into Phalanx Leader so that like your remaining creatures are large enough that you can kind of ride them out.
Yeah.
Oh, Gator with Keep Watch.
Yeah, and
Okay.
this is kind of what I expected with that card.
Yeah, so a draw 4.
Yep.
But Lotad, I do know, Lotad likes loyal subordinate. Lotad likes these kind of like very like try to go aggressively all in early and like just push out
because like
giant chunks of damage.
on the plan on this plan, like you look, even if you Phalanx Leader's removed, you have 3 evasive creatures left on the battlefield, which it might be good enough.
Yeah.
You just kind of have to take like a read of the table and figure out what you need to be doing. And I
Yeah.
guess if this is what he thinks he needs to do, then more power to him. I'm not the pilot again. Like I'm not thinking too hard, so I'm not.
We just
I'm
get
not
to
gonna say one's better
criticize.
than the
It's
other.
perfect. We don't.
That's right.
That's right.
We just gonna say everyone's wrong, and maybe they are. So,
No repercussions.
yeah. Alright, so Mizu's hurting. Mizu might not be long for this world. This is the danger of being the only combo deck in a pod.
Yeah.
People,
Yeah.
There's a lot of power on the board right now.
people do not take kindly to that.
That is true.
And unfortunately, Mizu, like Malcolm Arden's combos, unless he has, the longbow is gone somewhere, right? Like so.
It's in his hand.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's just it's he's still a very long way from being able to like combo. Needing freed plus a pinger on Malcolm or an untapper. He has the axe and then a pinger on something else. So we get the Springleaf drum.
Springleaf.
Ooh, we're gonna get a flickered Thraben Inspector, I bet, this turn.
Ooh, spicy.
Hell yeah.
Yep, it's a good turn for Far Traveler.
Yeah. Springleaf drum is so sweet, especially
It
with how
is
it
super
interacts
sweet.
with Far Traveler. But
There's so much
Yeah.
stuff.
I've been playing Disciple of Deceit a little bit lately in the CPDH scene, and I mean it does great things for Disciple,
Right.
but like it does cool things in Abdel. It's just like you have so many expendable like early creatures that like you're not attacking with a Thraben Inspector on this board.
Yeah.
You're not excited to block with the Thraben Inspector on this board. So
There's a ton of commons that care about being tapped.
Yeah.
They scry. I mean, like, Scare Tiller gets you some lands. Like, there's so many things you can do with it.
yeah. So I'm a big fan. That and Minsnare prototype if you're in blue, but that one doubles as a removal, pretty sweet removal spell too. So
Yeah, so like Wilson with an Armadillo Cloak is really good on this board. Like really good.
yeah,
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good.
I feel like if you're anyone but Lotad though, you're not attacking Mizu. You let Lotad fight that fight. At least that's what my opinion is. I don't know if I'm Hive who I'm attacking with Wilson. Maybe Lotad because you probably have the hardest time dealing with a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like Gator will eventually have a lot of things, but there will be a lot of things that don't block Wilson very well, so you don't care a whole lot. And Wilson is trample, so you really don't care a whole lot. Whereas Lotad's things are all becoming giant and a pain. So
Right.
Yep.
we have a Dawnbringer Cleric.
This doesn't do a ton.
I could hit
Gain
something
some
in a
life.
yard.
Exile a thing.
Yeah, it looks like you just gain life. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was surprised he didn't go for the Far Traveler.
Yeah, I think Hive might be worried about Lotad's board, but
Well, that's fair. But
I don't think Lotad is going anywhere other than Mizu.
Hive can only block
Yeah.
one of the flyers anyway,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. That's true. And the Shadow guy. Yeah. So, like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
interesting. Hive's a good player, though. I like playing against Hive.
Yeah.
It's fun. He's fairly regular on the Saturday streams and always brings something interesting.
Yeah. I saw I was playing a Quandric Apprentice slime deck, I think, recently.
Oh, yeah, I saw Lavert tweet about that.
Yeah, and it looked disgusting.
Did it? Did it do the thing?
It
Did the
seemingly
slime
did
do the thing?
I think Hive got stopped, but it definitely did plenty of the thing before that happened. So
Yeah. Good deal.
that's a card that I think is interesting. I don't know how you guys feel about it. Like I said, I haven't listened to the set review yet, so I'm sure I could find out what you think about it. But
I don't want to spoil it. In general, I'm not a huge fan of your deck can have any number of these cards.
I
like the card itself. I'm glad that I'm happy for the format that we have that card, but I don't see myself.
I wish it was a creature and not a sorcery.
Yeah, it messes me up that
Honestly.
card is not a creature. Yeah. Yep, 100%. Messes me up big time. But overall, like Dragon's Approach, Petitioners, the Rats, all that stuff, I just don't generally gravitate towards cards like that.
that's fair.
I'm glad we have it though. Now we just need one in. We don't have any in white, do we?
I don't think so.
I don't think we do.
No.
Yeah, I'm not excited by most of them is my issue. Like I played that Lulu Petitioners deck and it didn't really work out how I wanted it to because I wasn't doing the Petitioner thing. I was doing the Lulu thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It takes a lot for me to get excited about that stuff too. Like a lot of it just feels very boring to me. Except like the one place where it really clicked for me was with Tabaraks and Shadowborn Apostles. Like that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was awesome.
But
that was a fun deck to play against.
Yeah, that's an outlier. I think I would never play a rats deck, for example, like that. I just don't care about rats.
Yeah. But now to contradict myself, the Furious Spine Splitter from the Clue set, the Clue edition, I would like to make that into a Dragon's Approach deck.
Mhm. Let's see. So Gator gets Gut on the board, plays Springleaf Drum, and then we go to Mizu, who plays a tap land, attacks with Malcolm, and makes a treasure and goes into the tank. Okay.
I'm kind of surprised no skeleton no skeleton from Gator. Chose not to for whatever reason.
Oh yeah,
A lot
interesting.
of cards there.
I mean, there's nothing good to sack. I guess is maybe part of it. I know he has a
Yeah, there's nothing good value out of it.
Wellspring in hand, but odds are good he's holding up something because he's afraid of other people doing things now. So the fun tempo thing of you have your threats and now you gotta like protect them, but your threats also aren't like
Worth
the
protecting.
scariest. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's my problem with tempo, especially in a multiplayer setting. Like,
Yeah, multiplayer tempo's hard.
you got too many people to try to like control with, and like there's only so many cheap good threats, like efficient.
Well, like
cost of threats.
a big part of it is like you're never going to be the most like the scariest thing on the board. So like your opponents will oftentimes just be like attacking each other. Somebody might get attacking here and there just because you have the highest life total, quote unquote, like that kind of player. But generally speaking, like you're able to piggyback on what your opponents are doing in terms of like who they're attacking,
Nice
and just kind of like kill people that way, and then have enough reactive elements to just kind of keep them off balance while you finish them off.
Yeah.
When everyone else is dead, like that kind of stuff. You just have to be very like intentional about where you're sending your creatures.
Yeah, for sure. Good Sentinel's Eyes from Lotad.
Yep. So he's got bigger things.
6, 9, 13, 14. Whole bunch of power on the board.
Mm-hmm. And this is like a good example of what happens when you just have like a phalanx leader and nobody's interacting at all. And you just kind of like can just like do your thing uninterrupted.
Yeah.
And now you get to like hold back more because like you
Mhm.
got them sizable enough,
It doesn't support
and
anymore.
yeah, you don't need to make them grow as aggressively as you were.
Yeah,
I-
Lotad's presenting like what, 18, 20 damage right now?
Yeah.
Somewhere in that
Like
neighborhood.
a lot. Yeah, and he's send a bunch of it at yeah, looks like 6 at Mizu and then
Ooh.
like 12 at Hive Cryptid. Because now Wilson's not nearly as good at blocking 4/4s.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to trade your Wilson for one of these things.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
And I
No,
wonder if
that's-
Lotad is gaining life from his Healer's Hawk.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like he is, but he should be. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, Healer's Hawk in, well, now the Guidewing too, but Healer's Hawk and Battlefield Raptor are just so clutch sometimes. If you have any ways at
Mhm.
all to pump them up, they're just so good.
Yeah, just cheap things with keywords. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, what more do you
Mhm.
need? How much damage is that? That's, let's see, 1, 2, 6,
8, 12.
18 damage total.
Yep.
Yeah, it was 6 at Mizu, and then the rest of it at Hive Cryptid.
It's a good swing.
Yeah. And we're back to Hive Cryptid. It's like this is awkward because like you need to be able to kind of address what's happening on the board, and taking a turn to like cast Far Traveler and not do much else isn't really appealing to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially
Yeah,
given
Hive's
what,
in a
what you can blink.
sticky turn right now.
Like you're either getting
Yeah.
a clue or you can blow up a Sentinel's Eyes, which is far like cool. Lotad would
Cool.
love for you
Good
to blow
job.
up Sentinel's Eyes.
Yeah,
So-
go ahead. Go for
Yeah.
it. Yeah, Hive's in an awkward turn right now because they're not fully set up, but they, like you said, Derek, they need to deal with what's on the board.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if crop rotation's going to get them there.
Yeah,
Crop
what do you
rotation.
get with crop rotation? I don't think there's like much in the way of like good utility lands that would. I mean, there's one that like gives something protection.
Yeah, the
I don't know. I don't know what he's running is the only thing.
Sajiri step or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
But Hive's in ink.
So yeah, Sanctuary.
Okay.
Thing a basic.
Interesting.
Interesting that you don't keep the step there. I mean, unless you need the mana
Oh,
this
yeah.
turn, but
Yeah. Like these are not the turns where you want to be like. You want to be doing
Okay.
something.
Well,
Okay. So
all
we're
the
gonna
glitters.
cast-
They might
That's
do a
good.
little something, something. Nicely paired with Armadillo Cloak.
it's +4, I
Mhm.
think.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Trample
now you can start
pseudo
attacking
lifelink.
again.
Well, now you
Not-
can still do the far traveler here. Make it 5, and you make a clue, which at the end of turn when you flicker Thraben.
Yeah, for sure. Hashtag
Or even just-
synergy.
I mean, I might just buffer my life total with Dawnbringer Glitter.
Yeah,
honestly.
either or is fine.
Yeah.
Here I was.
Because like it seems to me that like this is not like the best board to. I mean, I don't know what he has in his hand, but like this is the kind of game state where I feel like I need to be addressing what is happening and having to like devote my mana in places like cracking a clue to draw a card, these sorts of things. I just end up with a clue that sits around for a long time. So I'm not sure. Like it depends on like if he plans on sacrificing it in a timely manner. Oh, we're gonna
Gator
bounce.
with the bounce the Armadillo Cloak.
Okay, so that makes Wilson much smaller.
Yep, much smaller. Definitely.
Is
takes
Five-five's still
away,
not bad.
Right?
No, not bad at all. But
I have
yeah,
to
and,
assume
and that's what I
means-
was saying, Derek, too. And with the situation Hive's in, like specifically on this turn, it's super awkward because there's like two different.
Yeah.
They're not fully set up yet, but they need to worry about what they're facing down specifically from Lotad, and it's hard to do when
Right.
you're a mid-range deck like that.
You're just gonna have to hope not to die and like put enough stuff out there to where you can kind of mitigate damage
Yep,
a little
I
bit.
think so. I think so.
I do think it's interesting that
It's like,
Wilson went at gut though. Like,
uh-huh.
Gut's scary. Gut has caused a lot of trauma.
Gut's scary with gut doesn't have like the board Lotad has or the combo potential Mizu had. Like,
No, that's for sure.
I know.
That's for sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, here's the thing: is that like Hive's established that he has Armadillo Cloak and all the glitters,
Yeah.
and who knows what else, and that's a big threat. So like, I find it. I think like once Mizu's dead, Hive's gonna follow pretty quickly after. So like, I don't know. Wow, Mizu texting during the game. How rude.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
I say, looking at my phone. Oh, we got something from Hive. It's just cracking. Benevolent. Oh,
Okay,
reprobation.
Oh, there it
That's
is
good.
again.
That's a good one.
Do you target
Is it
the
going back on
leader
the leader this time again?
or the Malcolm?
That is a good question.
I would target the leader personally.
I agree with you.
I think so.
I think that Lotad is priced into taking out Mizu at this point.
Yeah.
So I think that you have a little bit more leeway to mess around with them.
But Lotad with 2 mana up and no protection spells. Oof.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Unless he's hitting something else. I mean, I don't know, but
Yeah. There's not.
I mean,
a
even
lot.
with reprobation, Phalanx Leader's still going to be what, a 4/5, 5/6 with Sentinel size. It's still attack.
Hey.
Oh, it's on gut.
Oh God. Interesting.
Oh.
Okay.
Hive's super worried about Gut.
Huh.
Interesting.
I wonder.
Like,
Maybe
yeah,
there's
I
some
think this
table
is the
talk we
point.
didn't know about.
Possibly. I mean, as an outsider looking in, I think that you have to start preparing for like a post Mizu game.
Sure.
And I think reprobating gut may not be.
Yeah, I'm
Look
way
where we
worried.
wanna
I'm way
be,
more
I
worried
don't
about
know.
that Phalanx leader. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big time. Big time.
Or even just like play reprobation on like one of the flyers so it loses flying, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So it's actually like blockable. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can go with it.
oh, okay. This gut.
That's
Oh,
gonna use
trying
the
to
trump.
trying to. It can attack and block. So.
Oh, we're gonna ninjutsu a little bit. Okay, that's cool.
Cute.
All right. All right. All right.
Make a token.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no one wants to block the gut because it kills it. I would have rather killed it, I think, but a 5-mana gut is way less scary.
It's a good way to get rid of reprobation.
Yeah, that was awesome. Shrink the bear in the process too, which
Yeah.
is nice.
That's right, Wales. Ninja.
And the token it makes flies too, so like that's really clutch here.
Yeah.
Like things that can just like get in the way of Lotad's stuff.
Gonna wizard cycle. Mizu.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mizu has to try to cobble together combo ASAP,
Yeah.
but I just don't.
He's fallen pretty far behind.
I mean, he's dead next turn.
That's like the thing that I kind of
Crypt
is
Crypt swap.
That was good. Like things kind of clunky about like this Malcolm deck is like everything costs like 3 mana to do.
Yeah.
It seems like it's pretty slow to set up everything. I mean, obviously like the cards that it combos with are very powerful, and you know the commanders do a really great job of like making them that much better. But everything costs so much mana to do. Like when you do your transmuting, wizard cycling, it's all 3 mana. You know, Malcolm, Arden, both 3 mana. Amorphous Axe is I think 2 mana, but 3 to equip. Although it's free with Arden. You know, it seems just like a lot of mana is involved.
Yeah.
And obviously you get like a really great suite of like protection spells and ways to like force your combo through, but it just seems expensive to me.
Yeah, there's like some cheaty stuff you can do with Arden and cost reduction, but it doesn't save a whole lot, unfortunately. Like in the grand scheme, like you can save on if you're not doing the free specific combo on Malcolm.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, but
Yeah. Because in order to combo right now, what he needs Arden, Longbow, and Freed, which is 7 mana worth of cards.
yeah.
What is this?
Well, you don't
is
need Arden.
that?
You just need a pinger and free.
Oh, this is Hermetic Study. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, right. Because Malcolm's already the thing. You don't need to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he has the mana. He could have it with absolutely no protection of any kind. But
That's true. That's true.
looks like that is not the case.
You know what, Mizu? Oh, he's not gonna go
No.
for it.
You got treasure too. Yep, access to 2 treasures if he deals with damage with Malcolm.
Mm-hmm.
So like 5 mana. Although then he'd be like wouldn't be able to block anything. Yeah, like this seems like a pretty clear cut like attack Mizu, force him to block with Malcolm. And at that point, like I don't know. Maybe once you like put Mizu in this position where he's down so many like resources, like he loses Malcolm, loses the study, it's gonna take a lot of mana to rebuild. Maybe you can like take a turn and attack someone else and like make Mizu someone else's problem, just kind of like pass it off.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can kind of make it. Well,
Because you know he has longbow, so like
Well-
he's going to be able to combo again. It's just a matter of time.
yeah, like Hive on with Far Traveler can take out the Hermetic Study.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, you can pass altogether. The issue is that Mizu, like you said, Mizu has redundancy in the pinger department already, and you're the only one. Lota is the only one with like enough of a threatening board to actually like do the killing of Mizu, but once you do that, your open season on you because you tapped out.
Yeah.
You're mostly tapped out to do it. So
Yeah. True.
like I think I'm probably like splitting damage here. Like I'm throwing the Shadow guy at Hive
Sure.
because you can't do anything about it. And maybe like the Flyers at Mizu, but
Yeah.
Hive just needs to lose more life before the Far Traveler gets going. Because,
Or before he redeploys his Armadillo Cloak.
yeah,
Yeah.
either or, yeah.
Either or.
Yeah. Yeah, because like Gator's interactive spells are like really good against Hive, I think. Like the blue spells are really good against Wilson.
Yeah.
Just because they're very cheap and they'll get rid of all the auras too. So like you're in the spot where, like Lotad is incentivized to take out both Mizu and Cryptid, obviously. Mizu, or rather Hive, I think, is incentivized just as well to go after Lotad. So as Gator, you have a lot of room to kind of piece something together, I think, and kind of feel it out a little bit more. You have that luxury to kind of see how it plays. Like if he plays Gut, he'll have access to like 9 damage worth of attackers, 6 of it evasive. So yeah, there's a lot of ways it can go.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was thinking a minute ago too. Like it actually, despite what the board looks like, I feel like the game actually looks pretty good for Gator right now. Like everyone's sort of like
I think it's
infighting with each other, and you're just like you said, you're just sort of like hanging back, developing your board, doing your stuff, doing your thing.
I think Hive attacking him is and trying to interact with him has been more to just kind of like hedge against that, because like I said, like once Mizu's gone, like where's Lotad going? And you don't want to get it from 2 angles, like from Gator and Lotad. So
Yeah,
maybe he has
for
something
sure.
that deals with Lotad. I don't know, but maybe he's just trying to kind of hedge by going after Gator and kind of time walking him a little bit.
Yeah.
The good thing about Lotad, like what Hive can do against Lotad, is a pro white anything guarantees a Wilson hit. Like you lose some stuff, so like there's that tricky part. Or like a prismatic strands deals with a Lotad very effectively,
Right.
and those things
Sure.
don't work as well against Gator the same way. So
Right.
Right.
Like, and plus, like once you get the Armadillo Cloak back online, and you're basically like netting like a minus a handful of life instead of like 12 every combat step. And plus, like Wilson can attack and block and gain life on both ends. So
Yeah, that's nuts.
like again, like this is a situation where you're not dying to commander damage, so like the life gain from Armadillo Cloak's gonna be like super relevant.
yeah,
So you really need to get in for as much as possible before he gets on the life gain train.
Yeah.
choo choo.
That's right.
No one tell Alk.
I love life gain.
Yeah. I'll take it to my grave.
Yep. Yeah, I just built Lone Rider actually. That was hella fun. That's a cool commander.
Honestly, like I life gain is so important in casual games right now. Just as like the incidental life loss from everything is just so
From
it's so insane.
everything. Yeah, there's so many.
That's why it's really hard for me to play like Xeric Strobe Knight anymore, because you just like you lose your life so fast. You have no way to gain it back. You just die to everything.
Mm-hmm.
Although playing life gain does get you quite the target painted on you.
Oh,
Sometimes.
yeah, for sure.
It's depending on what the life gain is, but
Right. So it's something I feel like. Yeah.
I think I've lost.
So we don't know who
whose
he's
turn it
attacking
is.
yet, do we?
Yeah.
It's still Lotad's. I think he just declared attackers.
we still know who.
Well, Mizu picked up some cards. There we go. So something's going at Mizu.
Yeah, Gator looked at his hand as well, so I feel like maybe something's going to him, but I don't know. Oh, we're gonna pump. We're gonna do some things.
It's fun time.
I'm a big fan of the Theros commander
that?
with the Theros lands. I like that.
What is that card? Wings of the
Take-
something? Wings of the
Wings of the
Cosmos.
Oh, Wings of the
Plus
Cosmos,
one,
okay.
plus
There we
3,
go.
gains flying, and
And
untap
untap
it.
it.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, Kaldheim had some bangers.
Yeah, I was
Like Snow
listening,
Covered Island.
listening to when you guys did all the sets on the PDH pod, the set review. Like, what did you what were the most impactful, least impactful?
Mm-hmm.
That was it jogged my memory on so many sets that I just like forgot happened.
Yeah.
And like
Yep,
things
same
from
here.
those sets, like,
Yeah.
which is a lot about some of those sets and how forgettable they may have been. That's a blacksmith skill
Blacksmith skill. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
on Malcolm.
So he's indestructible and hex proof.
Oh, Hive just went down to 5.
Oh, so yeah, everything else was going
Oh.
at Hive except for something apparently. So
That's a lot of damage.
Probably Phalanx Leader. Yeah, because Hive took 15. So one thing at Malcolm,
Shadow
the rest of
and-
it at Hive.
Oof.
Yeah. Yeah, because again, like you don't want to trade Joe Wilson for any one of those creatures.
Yeah. Mizu is at 10 phalanx leader damage, so there's that component too, which is interesting.
Yeah. There's the cloak. We're back.
There it is. There's the cloak. We're back online.
We're about to gain so much life. This is gonna be a well. Hive's down to 1 card in hand, so yeah, I imagine we're in deploy Far Traveler time unless that 1 card is like a fog, maybe.
I think you'd almost have to be.
Oh no, there's a mouse on the screen. Okay, what's going on? So you definitely just want to attack with Wilson here.
Yeah.
So let's see. So he's got what? He's got a clue, a springleaf drum. He's got 4. So that brings Wilson up to 6, 7, 8 with a trigger. So he's 8/8. Vigilance, lifelink. Not lifelink, but lifelink trigger.
Yeah. Do you attack Lotad and like risk trading for 2 guys, or?
I'd probably attack Gator, get the free life, and leave Mizu up for Lotad.
Yeah.
When in doubt, swing it out.
It's like
if you are in an aggressive position and there's another player that's in a very aggressive position with you, and there's one combo player, you want them to feel forced to attack the combo player and not you.
We are demanding
Demand answers.
Demanding the answers.
Yeah. Yep, Gator Bay busting out the. That's it.
We are dying.
Scooping it up. I guess Wilson went at Gator.
Was that enough commander damage? He didn't have it marked. Oh, it looks like he had his damage marked as.
Oh, okay. As Wilson's.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Dead to commander damage.
Yep. Wilson will do that to you.
Oh, that's interesting. I may not have done that if I meant taking Gator out of the game. Interesting.
Yeah, because not like. I don't know. Gator has cards in hand, which helps you against Mizu.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're saying if you
again,
knew Gator was gonna die, you wouldn't have attacked
you want, yeah, you want the most. I think I'd want like Lotad in the position as the most aggressive board on the battlefield to like feel the need to split his attackers, or like you want to put him in a position to make a mistake. And I think by giving him the most options for a target, you're doing that. Especially because like Gator's opportunity to push some damage, but I don't think he's going to like take over the game. So I think leaving him as something. As like another variable to force into your calculations is important.
Yeah. Well, it does put Lotad in a really weird spot this turn too, because now like you're running out of time to kill Wilson because that armadillo cloak botches everything, and well, Mizu's still digging, so you're still not the most scared of Mizu, I guess, but but you're also scared of
Hive's
Mizu.
got 3 mana, still have 4 mana up too,
and didn't play Far Traveler, so there's something there. It's probably a flicker or my guess is it's a flicker.
And if you're Mizu, you love seeing Lotad shift gears here and try and kill Hive.
Yeah, the issue like Lotad is gonna have a hard time killing Hive, like without.
Yeah, this is pretty like big gambit, just like going shields down to draw cards, especially like flashing back deep analysis going to 10.
Right.
Yeah. Like if I'm Lotad, I think that it like goes both ways, right? Like they're digging in desperation, but like you also are like, okay, well they don't have it, so like maybe I can let
out,
let up on them for a moment. But then that's what combo players love when you do. So I as someone who is a fan of that themselves, so
Are we still in Hive's turn?
No, we're back to Lotad.
We had Mizu's turn, and now we're on Lotad's turn.
Yeah, Mizu cast deep analysis and flashed it back.
Oh, he cast it twice. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed
paid the 3 life and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw the flashback. I guess I missed the first time around.
Yeah. Well, you're definitely going sideways.
Oh
So,
yeah,
Yeah, I think that's a foregone
except
conclusion.
for the guide wing.
yeah, that one's
He goes
attacking.
straight forward.
He goes straight forward. Yep. Here we go.
That's right.
Untap, upkeep, draw, swing.
Oh, it looks like Mizu is dying.
Got 2 treasures.
Hopefully, I would assume the shadow guy is
No,
still
that's it.
going at Hive.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's free. Yeah, it's
That's
free.
it. Mizu scoops it up. Nothing to do with 2 treasures, I guess.
Oh.
Or maybe not. Maybe I'll just went at Mizu to make sure Mizu was dead.
Interesting.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Unless
Yeah,
you
it
got
doesn't look like
combat
Hive takes his life total down at all.
There we go.
Ooh,
no, it's
Another
creature.
1/1.
a
Yeah.
tapper, right?
That's a good one though.
That'll be
Yeah.
really good here.
Yep.
I'm gonna sack the clue. Yeah, that's pretty good heads up from like Loted. Like if you can just send everything at Mizu, keep Wilson from gaining life by blocking. Although, yeah, like sending the foot soldier is pretty like low risk.
Yeah. That's why I just naturally assumed
Okay.
it was
So this might get out of reach
Yeah.
a little bit.
Pilgrim.
So if he gets like ethereal armor, it's gonna be really tough to race this Wilson.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Ancestral
Oh,
Mask.
Ancestral
That
Mask
works
even
too.
better. Okay.
Yep.
that could just
That
end,
works too.
end the game, right?
Yeah, because that counts. That counts the eyes or the
So
warden.
it's 1,
or
2,
whatever
3,
that
4,
thing is.
5,
It counts
6,
everything.
7, 8.
Yep.
Well, it's
Oh,
only
it's only 6. It doesn't
enchantments,
count
right?
itself. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it's 1, 2.
It's 6, right?
Yeah,
now.
it's 6. It's plus 6.
So we have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then glitters is 1, 2, 3, 4.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a 14 bear. Lotet has not taken
Yeah.
in. Oh, Lotet has taken 4 bear damage already. So
Uh-oh. Ruh-roh.
He's gonna have to block, and then he's going to have to attack with everything. And Wilson's gonna. I mean, you can't race it with just the shadow guy.
Let's
So-
have
well,
some-
you can tap Wilson.
That's true.
You gotta pay for the ward though, don't you?
You do, but
Not
you
this turn.
you tap Wilson. You don't tap aggressively. I think you have to.
Well,
wait.
he can't pay for the ward, so it's 4 mana to
Right.
tap with
Oh,
that
it's
creature.
that's so
Right, that's what I'm saying.
expensive. Okay, yeah,
That's what I'm
you're
saying.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My apologies. I just thought it was like 2, but I didn't look at the card yet, so that's on me.
Center Soul.
Center Soul.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Pro.
That'll give us another trigger on the upkeep too.
Yeah.
Good card.
No commander damage on Hive from Phalanx Leader though, but
Mhm.
it's also like I don't know how you're getting through. Like I don't know how you just live. I guess.
Well, yeah, because like
Well, I think
that's the thing
Lotad
about
just
a
wins on
vigilant
his turn,
creature
right?
with
'Cause
this
he's got the
trigger.
Shadow creature. He's got 2 flyers. That's an-
Hive's gaining 14 life.
Yeah. Although if you give
Does
it
he?
protection, it doesn't
protection-
deal the damage, right? So
Right. Right.
so actually that could be
Well, yeah, the damage is prevented, so he'd have to assign
Didn't have enough across the rest, so it could
7 to that. So he gained like 7 life from
Oh, okay.
the rest of
okay.
his creatures taking damage, and he'd lose some creatures too. So yeah, this seems.
I think I missed something here.
No, I don't think he did. So if he gives Center Soul to the thing, to the Phalanx Leader, so it goes up to a 7, 8 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He still tramples over. Does that trade? Oh, kills Wilson.
Oh,
okay.
okay. That's where. Okay.
That's why.
Yep. That's it. Got it.
So
So with
I've-
Center Soul, he probably shouldn't have gained all of the life.
Yeah. 14. Probably not. Because at least on the leader, it would have prevented the damage.
Hmm.
Oh, it looks like they're making sure they have it. Well, unclear.
Yeah, maybe it doesn't trade with both of them. Because what? Phalanx Leader is 6, 7, it's an 8. 8. So he has to assign 8 damage to the Phalanx Leader before he can start assigning damage to other creatures, right? Because they're warrior blockers. So he assigns lethal to Phalanx Leader because he has to, and then there's only 6 damage after that to trample over. Or rather, 6 damage to assign past that. So the other creatures are 6 power, so he kill the Sunwing presumably, but the other one should live. Unless I'm just wrong, which I might be.
I think that's what they're discussing at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I think your math is correct,
Yeah.
Derek.
Derek, confirmed good at math and deck building.
Yeah, so you'd have to kill a Sunwing and then he keeps the Tapper. Although that's not really, I mean,
That doesn't matter anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. And then and if that's the case, then you'd be at 19, say 12. If he gives like Phalanx Leader protection from something, he's gonna kill him.
Man, talk about a good and applicable pregame combo for the games we've seen. Just all these like random tricks.
I'm still not sure those two should have died, right?
I don't know. I mean, like I said, I could be wrong. I'll leave it up to them, but
yeah.
All good. We know Wilson's dead. That's kind of the biggest takeaway from this combat.
Yeah.
Mono White has plenty of weenies.
I've got some jump blockers.
There's only one Wilson.
Yeah. Yep. You redeploy Wilson and a Far Traveler next turn, maybe.
Yeah, I think you're dead though.
Lots of talking though. Yeah, I don't know what you could have.
So we got 6.
The Cinder Soul comes back.
12.
Pro White is really good. Yep.
20 coming in. 21, 22, 23
Oh yeah, they all fly.
coming
Yeah,
in.
yeah. So I forgot about that. They're all evasive.
Yeah, so you should be.
If he's got one more spell in his hand, he's got lethal.
Oh, giving it Pro White is interesting.
Oh, it removes the Sentinel's Eyes, yeah.
But then you can't recast.
Oh, you can recast it now.
Well, you can't cast a target.
Oh no, you can't.
Phalanx Leader though. That's
Right. You're right. Yeah.
That's
7,
cute
8,
though. Yeah, but is that enough? 7,
15, 22. No, he needs one more spell in hand.
Well, does the Sentinel's Eyes on anything else do it though? 7, 14.
That's 22.
Not. Yeah, no.
Gotta have a combat trick.
That's 8.
Or put you're right. Putting the Sentinel's Eyes on something else pre-combat would have bumped it up another point, but
I don't think that's enough. Yeah. But giving Pro White means you don't have another Phalanx Leader trick. So.
Yeah.
Top deck
I mean, at this point, though,
Stonehorn,
like Hive's kind of at 4 and with nothing.
Yeah, needs strands to like stay alive, but
God, that Healer's Hawk has been doing work since turn 1.
yeah.
Holy cow!
It's gained a lot of life.
What do you got, Hive? This is it. See if he top decked the Stonehorn Dignitary.
Yeah, Stonehorn. Yeah, that would be rough.
That would be super rough. This would be a 3-hour game. $44-4. What can Hive do?
Yeah, I mean, I think Hive plays. I mean, we know Hive plays Strands. We saw it last game. Maybe One Piece. Like you could, those 2 cards buy you 4 turns across them, but
yeah,
I don't know if you can do enough in those 4 turns to.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to have those exact 2 cards, and you have to do something.
Because even with bringing Wilson back, you got to figure out how to get your Armadillo Cloak or something back.
Yeah, you gotta.
Are you able to see how many cards Hive has in his hand?
Hive
can't
has
make it out on the screen.
two cards.
Okay.
Dose cards.
So not looking great.
Not looking great.
Yeah, looking at graveyard, I guess. I don't know what's going on there.
Mm-hmm. Maybe exile something. I don't know.
What is?
What's happening?
Yeah, what?
I think they're discussing the combat from a turn ago.
Yeah, what are they?
Huh.
Gator's teaching them.
Oh, maybe he
Yeah.
caught something.
Yeah, maybe the game's over and they're talking about stuff like Hive has accepted
Yeah.
death.
Well, yeah, like if Hive didn't gain the full life off of Wilson,
He would
he'd
have
be
been dead.
dead.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Hive also does have Stonehorn Dignitary. Good call, Wheels.
Yeah, in the deck. Yeah.
Oh, Mizu said they're talking about some rules stuff. I mean, at this point, anything that happened a turn and a half ago is done. So like,
Yep.
That's a little too much to reverse, I think. But
Yeah, I think by the letter of the law, Hive should be dead.
sorry,
Does it settle that?
I cannot type. I wrote the wrong one. I wrote the wrong. Delete that.
Well, it's hard to stream and talk and type and run a event and everything else.
I can't even delete my own message. This is embarrassing.
I know, I do that all the time during my stream. Like, just don't worry about it.
I'm curious what like they're trying to figure out now.
Yeah.
Like at this point,
Yeah, I mean, like, I am going to assume
like
that the game is over, but
To assigning excess damage
Yeah.
to blockers. Oh, because of the protection, he was wondering if he could have assigned the excess damage because it prevented it anyway, maybe?
oh, to gain life,
Yeah, you only have
you can, I think.
you have to
No,
assign lethal to the first ordered blocker though.
Yeah.
Right, and I think they're
And whether or not
asking
that
because
damage
of-
kills the creature
Well,
like lethal.
No,
Well,
I
yeah,
think
you
they're
also
asking
have-
because of the protection, does the excess damage roll to the other blockers, or is it all prevented? I think is what
should.
they're asking.
Because there's
Okay.
trample involved too, which is
Oh, that's
interesting.
true. There was trample involved, but yeah, I think that was the question.
It should.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. It's the same thing with like death touch and trample, right? Like you just have to assign lethal damage, and in that case, it's one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it didn't.
Protection
yeah,
protection
like
doesn't change what lethal
Wilson,
damage is for the creature. It just
you have protection
changes
when each of
whether or not your
has
creature would
assigned
die from receiving lethal damage.
damage.
Because it's just prevented.
Yeah.
The damage has to happen to be prevented, right? So
Right. Either way, does not look great for Hive.
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, I mean, you could order your blockers. You could order it so that he deals damage to, the Sunwing, and then Sunwing first, Mothrider second, and then Felling Sleeper third. But that would need to be. I mean, it depends on when he's giving creature protection, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is insane to. Well, it depends if he like assigned it all to Phalanx Leader first, and then he gave it protection. I mean, I'm just not sure like when in that combat it
Yeah,
same
received
here.
the spell.
So Hive has Wilson and Lignify. I guess you like Lignify the shadow thing, and
I
still
Yeah,
in a
because you can block the.
you can block the
Hawk.
other two. Yeah.
This is not a biotransference, both able. Thank you though.
But even still, if he did
Wilson's
assign
gonna die.
blockers, if he did assign blockers with Wilson last,
I mean,
then he'd still only
Lignify's-
gain partial life from the thing.
Right.
I mean, Lignify. This 04 gets to attack and is still very giant.
Well, there's
so-
a vehicle.
That's
What is
true.
that?
Yeah, it's a flywheel racer.
Flywheel racer. There we go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a springleaf drum,
Yeah.
but it's a vehicle.
I just couldn't pick out that art.
Except it's not a Springleaf Drum. The turn enders. Thanks, Summoning Sickness.
Right.
That comes up all the time. So is this a protection spell?
That is Niveus
Wisp,
Wisps.
the white
So
wisp.
target creature
Yep.
becomes white until end of turn. Tap that
Yep.
creature.
White Wisp. Those
Oh,
are,
so you
So
attack.
I love
attack,
that
yeah.
cycle.
Yeah.
I love that cycle quite a bit.
Yeah, all those cards are great.
Yeah.
Wisps.
This is going to be the biggest lignified creature I've seen attack ever.
Yeah, it's gonna be a 8, 12.
You could just cast it targeting the Wilson and just like attack with.
Yeah, that's
I mean, I don't know what the Lignify is on, but like you could just do it that way, I guess, instead of like going for more triggers.
well. It doesn't work because you can animate the flywheel. Well, yeah, I guess that gets around the flying thing because flywheel doesn't.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it just has
Your way's
vigilance.
way cleaner. Lotad's disconnected. Never going to get to actually
Oh,
win.
looks like Hive wins.
That's it by default. Default.
One of these days, we will know how this game ends. I believe there are lots of channel points. All of the channel points are on Wilson. So,
Oof.
sorry, Wales.
Sorry, Wales.
I think you're going to lose some points here. Yeah, it looks like he was targeting the Phalanx leader, though, to pump his team. So,
Sure.
Yeah. That's the impression I got.
Be weird if he didn't.
oh, Lotad just completely left. So,
Yeah, he's out.
maybe,
Peace.
I know Lotad has had some internet issues before, but hopefully,
Yeah.
get them figured out here. So,
Yeah.
but while that happens, I'm gonna throw these cool tokens on the screen. So, as people pointed out, people being Brad and Derek, certain folks were playing these awesome tokens that we give away every FNM or every league or every tournament or through Patreon. So every winner of the Sanctuary tournaments has gotten a custom token made, kind of based on their deck, and then going forward, we're gonna do the same thing for every winner too. So it's really simple. You can join the Patreon. It lays out how many you get, and you'll get them as new ones come out. You can play an FNM. I give away some every week just to people who played or tried to play in games. Or you can play in the leagues and tournaments, and depending on where you finish, there'll also be prizes. So they're pretty sweet. I know I will have plenty of stuff in MagicCon Chicago too. I'll have these cool food tokens that will be given out just for anyone who finds me and wants them. So pretty cool stuff. So if you want to get your hands on them, play games, play Magic. It's real simple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, do what you already love to do.
Yeah. During that spiel, Lotad came back,
Got a blue screen.
but it's
Got blue
very
screen.
blue.
We're getting there.
There's an opportunity for Hive to search his library for whatever he wants to put on the battlefield. Because
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think that's
it's in
the official rule.
It's in the
that's
rules
the
book.
play here. That's the line.
It's in those little bitty Ice Age rules books.
That's
It's towards the back.
right. Yeah, in Ice
Well-
Age, if your opponent disconnects from spell table, you have license to.
Yep. Search your car. Search your library for any card.
That was a future sight card.
Oh, look
Yeah.
at that. Yeah.
They knew.
They knew. Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess if Lotad didn't cast Wisps on his own guy, like this could have all just been resolved by saying, on my turn, I'm casting Wisp targeting your Wilson. Call it a day.
Call it a day.
Yeah, looks like Wilson is tapped here.
Yeah, that's why you can't do it end of turn because,
Yeah,
well, yeah, I guess I don't know.
you know. Well, so is Spring. I don't know what's going on. We'll figure it out once,
Yeah.
if Lotad comes back.
Big if. Big if.
Yeah. I kind of want to go jump in to see what's going on, but oh, Lotad said he thinks his internet crashed. So
Ah, wah wah.
I think that's what happened too.
Yeah, seems
Yeah.
like it. Sorry, Lotad.
yeah, so we may. We'll see.
Yeah, there's sharks everywhere, whales. Chewing up those cable lines.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we'll just call it there then. We'll see if it comes back. We'll. I'm gonna wait to give out the points for until I hear something, I guess. But then I'll probably assign them to Lotad. Sorry,
Cool.
Wales.
Yeah.
He's the one impacted by that. But that was a really interesting game. Both these games were really cool. Like,
Yeah.
It was cool.
It was they're very like on brand for what we were talking about, like trick wise, like combat, like there's lots of protection. There were pump spells sort of with the heroic stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, a
a
lot
fan
of
of
cool stuff.
anything heroic.
Yeah. I thought that was really cool. So yeah, what do you guys, final thoughts, things you want to plug, etc.?
Brad, what do you want to plug?
It was a great event. I liked it. It was the first time commentating a like actual tournament. I had a good time. It was a good time talking with everybody and talking with chat and everything. As far as plugs, just the PDH pod. Listen to us every week. We're the PDH pod on most major platforms. And yeah, I think that's about it. That's all I got.
What about
Oh.
you, Derek?
Okay. I am on Twitter/X at Derek DeReader. I also run the Upper Rules Committee, PDH Rules Committee RC streams. So
awesome.
at PDHRC.
Super awesome.
At PDHRC is where that stuff is announced and promoted primarily. So you can follow that Twitter/X account as well.
Do we have a sneak peek of who will maybe be on the next?
You got a teaser
No.
for us?
Oh, okay.
No teasers.
No breaking news. Okay.
I don't play games. I'm not a salesman. I do my thing, and if you like it, you like it. You don't, you don't. Okay.
And everyone likes it every time.
That's right.
Or else.
Give us the inside scoop. That's right, Wales. Demand answers.
Yeah.
Demand.
No, I've had a particularly busy year so far. So in terms of like my bandwidth for lots of things is a little bit reduced. So it's taken a while longer than I thought to
I know that.
get everything together for the next one. But as soon as I have something concrete, it will be on the internet for everybody to enjoy. I promise.
Forever immortalized.
Awesome.
I haven't forgotten about you all and how much you like to watch Magic content on the internet.
Yeah.
So that's all for me. That's all I got. I got nothing else.
Nice.
And I'll be in
Oh.
Chicago for anyone who's going to be there.
Oh yeah, we'll be there too. The whole
Same.
PDH
Yeah.
pod will be there. Bobby will be there. It'll be a
I will
whole
also
good
be.
time.
It'll be
Yeah.
It'll be.
Yep.
I had major FOMO of Vegas, so I'm very excited for Chicago.
Yeah, it'll be a good time.
But yeah, and
it's
then
gonna be
we'll also all be reunited here in March for the Sanctuary tournament too. I think.
Heck
That's the
yeah.
plan. So,
March
I will
16th,
be-
buddy.
yeah.
be
It'll
doing that too.
Be a good fun. I think Alka's gonna actually play, so I might.
Yep.
We'll see if someone
He's
else steps in.
committed.
Or I might just jump in and chat.
I think you should. I think we
So.
make a good team.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
It'll be a good fun time. But
Yep. Well,
On
thanks for
that-
having us on, Bobby.
yeah, thank you guys for
Yeah.
joining. It's fun. Anyone who's still watching, make sure to jump in games if you want to play tonight. I'll give out tokens tomorrow morning, and tune in next week. But thanks everyone for watching, and catch you
Yeah.
all later.
See you guys. See you,
Bye,
chat.
everybody.
Peace.